From the grounds of McKeon Park in Hyannis, Massachusetts, an overcast evening. The Harwich Mariners bringing the minimum to the plate against the starter in Zach Volker out of Iowa. Now Reed Easterly-Honest. He deals a fly ball down the right field line on a full count, and it's just foul. We apologize for the late arrival here with you on this Friday night. Harwich hosting the All-Star game tomorrow, but first a road trip here to Hyannis and try and take down the Hyannis Harbor Hawks, second the Cape Cod West Division standings at 20-2 first before hosting the All-Star game in the 100th season of Cape Cod baseball. Well, the Mariners had a one-out single from Seaver King, but a strike him out, throw him out double play. Closed it out, 2 strikeouts for the starter in Volker out of Iowa as Reed Easterly deals a chopper to the right side. King to his right for one on his second. The throw into first is not in time as that gets the lead runner in Zach Earhart, the right fielder, leading off here today, but Cam Smith reaches on an infield single. Wyatt Copeland, Courtney Robinson here with you on this overcast night. 70 degrees, cloudy skies from McKeon Park. Winds blowing southeast at 7 miles per hour. Reed Easterly on the mound for his second start on the year after Harwich took its third of 4 wins yesterday against the Cotuit Kettleers, that being 3 wins in 4 tries against the best team in the Cape Cod Baseball League. So Smith on first here as Zachary York, the first baseman out of Grand Canyon, steps in and watches a strike from the left side of the box. The Harwich Mariners and Hyannis Harbor Hawks meeting here at McKeon Park for the second and final time on the season. No runs and 1 hit for either side. The 0-1, a slider just going low at the knees for strike number 2 here to York. So Earhart with the leadoff single here in the first will bring you the starting lineup. And again, we apologize for the technical difficulties here on our end at McKeon Park. Harwich looking for its second straight win here tonight after a dominant win. Pitch, foul to the right side. And we'll do it again. No balls and 2 strikes here to York.
Wyatt, pleasure to join you tonight. I am replacing our usual head of broadcast, Devin Dobick, while he has ditched us tonight for a Red Sox game. But it is a pleasure to be alongside you. Despite the technical difficulties to start off the night, I'm usually behind the scenes, so I'm glad we were able to get a quick fix and get started.
2-strike pitch, an off-speed pitch, cut on and missed. And it's the first strikeout here for Reed Easterly out of Yale. We'll tell you a little bit more about him. Easterly coming in to his second start on the season and his first start in which he got his second win this year to help Harwich past Wareham in that 4-1 home win. 5 shutout innings, 3 hits, 2 walks, the left-hander out of Yale as he deals the first pitch strike to the cleanup hitter in Brandon Ike.
Easterly was named the Pitching Ninja Week 5 Pitcher of the Week by the Cape Cod Baseball League after pitching 7 scoreless innings in his first 2 Cape Cod Baseball League outings.
Pitch goes low here to Ike, standing in from the right side. Easterly at 6 foot, 200 pounds. Junior out of Katy, Texas. The graduate of Cinco Ranch High School looking to go at least 5 again here today after giving the Mariners a 4-1 win. 1-1, a slider missing high at the letters as it goes to 2-1. It'll be key here to see how well he can dial in the strikeouts. Courtney had 4 strikeouts through 7 innings in his first 2 outings on the season, which each culminated with a victory. Had 3 strikeouts and 2 scoreless innings. Didn't even allow a hit in that win against Chatham. The 2-1 on the way, and it spiked back into the screen, and the count levels up at 2-2. The starting lineup here today for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks at 20-12-2 on the season, just 2 games behind the Cotuit Kettleers in the Cape Cod West Division standings, leading off the right fielder, Zach Earhart. The 2-hole hitter is Cameron Smith, the designated hitter out of Florida State. Batting third, Zachary York, as he struck out swinging. The pitch, a cut and a miss. And a drop third strike, Andrew Yu, the battery made to Easterly tonight, fires down to first, and it's in time. Well, we'll bring you the starting lineup for Hyannis. The rest of it when Hyannis comes back up to bat in the bottom of the second. But the Hyannis Harbor Hawks, all the while, they get no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and leave 1 on in Cameron Smith, who reached on a fielder's choice. 2 strikeouts for Reed Easterly, the southpaw, in his second start on the season. Harwich and Hyannis going scoreless into the second inning here from McKeon Park. We'll step away. This is Harwich Mariners baseball on the Harwich Mariners YouTube Network. The Harwich Mariners looking for back-to-back wins after their most convincing win on the season last night over the best team in the Cape Cod Baseball League in the Katuitt Kettleers. Wyatt Kopelman, Courtney Robinson here with you on the Harwich Mariners Network here tonight on a breezy evening at 70 degrees and cloudy skies from McKeon Park in Hyannis, Massachusetts. Headed scoreless between the Harwich Mariners and the Hyannis Harbor Hawks going into the top of the second. Jacob Humphrey, Seaver King, Kevin Karstad are the 1 through 3 hole hitters here today. Kalen Culpepper, Ethan Anderson, Devin Obie, the middle third of the lineup, due up here against the right-hander of Granite Bay, California, and the Long Beach State transfer in Zachary Volker. The sophomore at 6'1", 215, just completed his first season at Iowa of the Big Ten, a team that was a 2 seed in the Terre Haute Regional before being eliminated. He winds and deals the first pitch as the K-State product in Culpepper watches the breaking ball clip the upper half. First strike, number 1. Harwich with 2 strikeouts in its lineup against the right-handed Volker with a traditional wind and deal, working slowly as he deals a slider low and away to make the count 1-1 here to Culpepper. Volker at Iowa, a team that tied its single-season wins with 44 this past season, did not make it out of that regional. 1-1, a chopper over towards the left side, high bouncing ball for Gazdar at short, fires onto first, and it's in time. He was backing up towards the second base bag, just shy of the outfield grass for that matter, as there's one away here in the second. That's going to be key here for Volker to try and settle in after what was an upstart hitting performance last night at home against Katuitt for Harwich.
Definitely, and I think no stranger to playing in the cold weather coming out of Iowa. Tonight might be a jinx, celebrating Christmas in July from McKeon Park, bringing extremely cold weather on this July evening here in Hyannis.
Ethan Anderson, the switch hitter of Virginia, steps up and lobs one foul to the left side as it just clears the fence next to the Hyannis dugout for strike number 1. Yes, it is Christmas in July here at McKeon Park. Harwich wearing its Road Navy uniforms with red block lettering, red block numbering, white outlining across the chest. Gray pants with blue lining down the sides of the pants, blue Navy socks, and a red outlining as well. A 1 cut and a miss here to Anderson, the Virginia native, as it's 0-2 quickly here. Harwich and Hyannis scoreless here with 1 away in the top of the second. Harwich falling to the Harbor Hawks the last time they were here in this interdivision battle. Volker, the right-hander out of Iowa, set. He deals the 2-strike offering, and the slider goes low as Anderson's able to stay in live account at 1-2. There's 1 away here in the top of the second. Harwich 3.5 games behind the Yarmouth Dennis Red Sox for first place in the Cape Cod East Division standings. Now here's the 2-strike offering again, and it goes low. And it makes a new count here to Anderson hitting the 5-hole here today with Devin Obie, the outfielder out of Duke, on deck here.
The last time these two teams met, it ended in a tie. Come behind from Harwich, tying it up, and ultimately being cut short due to some light issues at White House Field after being struck by lightning.
And to think it has already been 5 days since that transpired, Courtney, where the Mariners were adversely hit by a thunderstorm, White House Field not having enough floodlights to keep the game after 8 innings. A payoff pitch set with 1 away. Volker deals, fastball, a check swing, and the home plate umpire in Cameron Parati says that he went around. And now is a good time to bring you today's umpiring crew here. Calling balls and strikes, Cameron Parati behind home plate. Mark Rulli is at first base. The third base umpire is John Grasso. The defensive lineman, meanwhile, for Hyannis is they're now 2 away here. The 3rd strikeout for Volker out of California. Taylor, Lipsy, and Erhard from left to right in the outfield. On the left side of the infield, Ike and Gazdar at 3rd and short, at 2nd and 1st. Snow and York, the battery made here to Volker. Aaron Parker. He deals the first pitch to Devin Obie, and it's a changeup missing high for ball number 1. 2 away here in the top of the second. The Harwich Mariners and the Hyannis Harbor Hawks are scoreless here with a hit apiece here. Obie out of Duke looking to break that here with the middle of the infield open. The 1-0, a slider that bounces in the opposite box as it goes to 2-0 here to the Nashville native.
Obie, the rising junior at Duke University, also here alongside his high school and college teammate Andrew Yu, starting catcher tonight for the Mariners.
Yeah, they've started a numerous level games here this season as Harwich is looking to get back into second, now trailing Orleans for second place in the Cape Cod East Division standings. The 2-0 offering to Obie, ripped to the left side and past the diving glove of Gazdar at short as it trails into left center field. Obie will stop at first, and the Mariners have their second hit on the ball game as that forces Volker to work out of the stretch here.
Excellent placed hit by Obie. He's had a lot of those this season, finding the exact right spots. It's been a smooth transition for him to the wooden bats.
It certainly has. Obi now extending his on-base streak from 5 to 6 games as that draws in the newcomer out of Maryland and Elijah Lambrose. Getting the start in left field here today in the righty-righty battle against Volker as the Mariners look to move a runner into scoring position. First, Lambrose watches a changeup on the outer half for strike number 1. Runner on first with 2 down here in the top of the second. Harwich and Hyannis scoreless here from McKeon Park. The floodlights have begun to illuminate here. Cloudy skies. An unusually cooler evening here in mid-July. Fits into the Christmas in July theme here for the Harbor Hawks. 0-1, a breaking ball bounced in the dirt, having to shed the mask. Parker as he's able to block it. And that prevents a runner in Obi to get into scoring position as it's 1-1.
Santa Claus throwing out the first pitch tonight. You might hear some Christmas music in the background of today's broadcast. Really just all of McKeon Park is in on this theme tonight.
I'm not a guru of Christmas music, but we certainly heard it's the most wonderful time of the year. I think we heard Here Comes Santa Claus as well. Still about 6 months away from the actual festivity. A runner on with 2 away here. Obi with a single to left field.
Kind of like celebrating a half birthday right now.
1-1 is skied back behind home plate foul to Lambrose. Tell you a little bit more about him. Just getting the call to join the Mariners here a couple of days ago. Was not activated yesterday during the Mariners' 10-2 win over the Cotuit Kettleers, the best team at 22 wins in the Cape Cod Baseball League. 6'1", a $193, a sophomore out of Maryland, native of Fredericksburg, Virginia. Pitch. Slider goes outside as it's 2-2 here to the infielder.
Lambrose with 14 home runs in his first season at Maryland. Hopefully he can bring some of that power to the Mariners.
Well, certainly need to translate it here with Harwich looking for some early hitting here, hitting .221 over its last 5 games. Volker set at the belt, a 2-strike pitch, fastball high. Parker thought about a back pick down to first, and instead he decided to hold on. So draws another payoff pitch coming here. Anderson, the first baseman, striking out for Volker's third here with 1 away back in the second here. A runner on and no score here between Harwich and Hyannis. Their final meeting on the season. The payoff pitch. Breaking ball just sails low. That was a convincing pitch, but not to the liking of the home plate umpire, Cameron Parati. So in the first plate appearance here for the Mariners this season, Lambrose earns a 2-out walk as that slides Obi into second. This is a prime opportunity here for Andrew Yu, the Duke teammate of Devin Obi.
Yeah, like we mentioned, teammates since high school, there has to be an added level of chemistry for these two. The amount of times that they've stepped on the diamond together is probably more than most duos you'll see across the league.
So Obi on second, Lambrose on first with a 2-out walk. The first pitch, the Nashville native dips inside, gets away from Parker. He tries to throw down to first, and it's not going to be in time. Devin Obi reading it well in the dirt on what was a pass ball as it got out of the glove of Parker and on the inner half of Yu. So now runners on second and third here. An excellent opportunity for the Harwich Mariners to bring home at least 1, if not 2. One to leave the infield will likely put Harwich ahead 2-0, but for now it's scoreless with 2 away here in the top of the second from McKeon Park. Volker winds and deals again as it's taken high and inside. So it's 2 balls and no strikes here to Andrew Yu. On the season, just 1 RBI to this point, hitting .205 through 11 games. But he did have a hit in that 5-5 tie against the Harbor Hawks back at White House Field on Sunday. Obi on third, Lambrose on second. The 2-ball pitch. Fastball foul tipped into the glove as it goes to 2-1. Well, Harwich going down not in order, but certainly facing the minimum as Seaver King had a 1-out base hit, but was caught stealing on a strike him out, throw him out double play. 2 strikeouts in the first for Volker as he looks for a strikeout to close out the second here. The 2-1 deal. Slider floats outside. So that makes it 3-1 here for Andrew Yu.
Yu with a hot start throughout his first 10 outings. He logged 7 hits and 5 walks, looking to have a patient eye at this at-bat right here as well.
Harwich and Hyannis scoreless with 2 away here in the second. The 3-1 serve foul to the right side as it draws another full count here. Well, Volker has certainly done a good job of being able to battle back, especially for what Hyannis needs him to convert on here after he gave up just 1 earned run in 4 innings in that 4-3 win against Bourne. A key win for the Harbor Hawks to have here at this point in the season. Runners on second and third with 2 away. Here's the payoff pitch. And it's spiked back into the screen. A good at-bat here for Andrew Yu as he stays alive. Alec Amarillo on deck, the rising junior at Texas A&M. Mariners trying for a 2-out spark here after a ground out and a strikeout here for Volker. A tall right-handed starter at 6'1", 215 here for Hyannis. The payoff pitch again. Half swing, and it's foul tipped as it's just outside of the box. Andrew, you able to near this at-bat to 10, as now Cameron Parati will draw the umpiring crew here together. They congregate on the mound to discover what might be the ruling here.
Yeah, Volker looked a little bit upset with that call. Him and his catcher both looked like they wanted to play that.
It looked like he was in fair play as well. Didn't foul off of the cleat of Andrew Yu, but Yu has yet to clear the on-deck, or the home base circle, I should say.
Yeah, it looks as though the call is going to stand.
So they rule that it was a foul ball as Eric Beatty, the Hyannis head coach, now steps out to have a word with Parati, the home plate umpire. So the defensive alignment here today for the Harbor Hawks from left to right in the outfield, Taylor, Lipsy, Erhard. On the infield corners, Ike and York. And the middle infield, Gazdar and Snow at short and second. Battery made here to Volker, Aaron Parker. But for the Harbor Hawks, certainly need a win here. They have won 3 straight games and are looking to win yet another game here in the season series. They've won twice and only tied once here for a Hyannis team that tied with Harwich at 5 runs apiece back on Sunday, hitting .319 with 71 RBIs in its last 10 games, but trying to avoid falling behind first, as Hyannis and Harwich are scoreless with 2 away here in the top of the second. Runners on second and third. Obi on third and Lambrose on second. Here's the payoff pitch again, and it misses low on a fastball. Andrew Yu able to load the bases as he earns yet another walk on the season, and the bases are loaded here for Ali Camadillo as Mariners have a 2-out spark rolling.
Excellent patience there at Yu. He turned that into quite the at-bat, ultimately resulting in that walk there, and now Ali steps into the box with a bases-loaded 2-out situation.
Already a crucial spot here in the game for the Mariners, despite being scoreless with Hyannis. On the road here, the first pitch, a fastball going right down Broadway for strike number 1 here to Camadillo. On a 2-game hitting streak entering today, has a 3-game on-base streak he looks to extend as well. Had his 3rd straight 2-hit outing last night against Katuitt. The 0-1 try, a slider flying outside as it goes to 1-1 here to Camadillo. Up for the first time here today with Obi on third, Lambrose on second, and Yu on first with a 2-out walk. Volker already with 3 strikeouts here, and this one had 2 back in the first. The 1-1 offering. Fastball zipped back behind home plate. Stays in fair play as Parker tries to get towards the netting, but he runs out of space as it goes into the seats. As it'll be 1-2 here to the Chula Vista, California native.
Camadillo returning back to Harwich after a quick visit to his new school, Texas A&M. He was able to get on campus, and see where he's going to be spending the next season.
Now, Camadillo was out of the lineup for an earlier part of the week, but in his past 3 games, 2 hits in each of them. He has certainly taken off, and this is what you need out of a hitter in the bottom third of the order, especially with the bases loaded and 2 away. Harwich looking to get on the board first against Hyannis. A 1-2. Slider tapped foul just behind the plate. Ali barely got a piece of it as the count stays there.
He's consistently been a defensive star for this team, but he's looking to extend his hit streak and on-base streak, especially in this crucial moment right here.
Yeah, it's a huge spot for the Mariners, and he has played shortstop so well this season. Trying to stay alive here, the 1-2. Served into right field, and it's down for a base hit. One across the score, and Yu standing up right behind him, Lambrose, as he will reach the plate diving. A 2-out RBI base hit for Ali Camadillo as the Mariners take their first lead on the game, and it's 2-0 Harwich here in the second.
Ali loves a good pressure situation. 2 outs, bases loaded. Also has a walk-off hit this season. He likes some pressure on him in the box.
Yu into second. Camadillo still on first here as Harwich now leads 2-0 with Jacob Humphrey, the leadoff hitter. 0 for 1 today, looking to drive in 1 or more. First pitch, eclipse him on the inner shoulder as he stood in from the right side as the bases are loaded once again. And Humphrey reaches for the first time as the game's first hit batsman to draw in Seaver King. The Wake Forest product now has his turn to draw in at least a run, if not more, with the bases loaded. So Camadillo with a 2-run single with 2 away here in the second to get Harwich on the board first. as that'll draw a mound meeting here between Aaron Parker, today's starting catcher, as well as the Hyannis pitching coach in Eric Luxus. It's a Hyannis team that has certainly increased its offensive production here in July, Courtney, with 15 home runs and 111 RBIs compared to 6 home runs, 57 RBIs in June. But despite winning 8 of its last 10 games, already in a little bit of a hole here with Harwich putting a lot of pressure on the starter in Volker.
Definitely. This is exactly, if you're Coach Engler, you're very proud of your team with this 2-out production right now.
So it's you on third, Camarillo on second, and Humphrey on first, as the Mariners are threatening here with 2 outs in the top of the second. The 2-run single for Camarillo certainly giving him a lot of momentum to carry over here into today, as Camarillo picks up his 9th and 10 RBIs on the season, just entered today, hitting at around 210 through 28 games here with the Mariners after completing his 2nd season with the Cal State's Northridge Matadors of the Big West Conference. There he had 44 RBIs, and that has been a strength of his for most of this season. So the mound meeting adjourns here as Volker, the right-hander out of Iowa, steps on the mound once again. It's you on third, Camarillo on second, Humphrey on first. Set to face King is Volker. The first pitch, a breaking ball cut out and missed for strike number 1 here. Seaver King on the day, 1 for 1 with a 1-out single back in the first. Harwich was able to capitalize for the game's first runs until now with a 2-run single from Camarillo, holds a 2-0 lead here in the second. The pitch, taken for a strike on the lower corner, just at the knees as it's quickly 0-2 to the Athens, Georgia native.
King looking to extend his 4-game hit streak.
Has to protect here with 2 away and the bases loaded. Harwich looking to capitalize further. Volker, the right-hander, deals, and this one is lobbed into right field. It's going back to the wall. Earhard, he's at the track. He makes the catch for the final out of the inning. Well, Seaver King gave it a good ride, but nonetheless, the Mariners score the game's first 2 runs on a 2-run single from Ali Camarillo. Harwich looking to keep that lead with Reed Easterly, the left-handed starter out of Yale, making his 2nd start on the season, as he'll be tasked with a very tough-hitting Hyannis lineup here in the bottom of the second. 2 runs on 3 hits here for Harwich, no runs on 1 hit for Hyannis going into the bottom half of the second here from McKeon Park in Hyannis, Massachusetts. 2-0 Harwich. We'll step away for a moment. This is Harwich Mariners baseball on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Christmas music playing here at McKeon Park in Hyannis, Massachusetts. On Christmas in July night, the Harwich Mariners taking their final trip here to McKeon for a matchup, an interdivision battle against the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. Reed Easterly, southpaw of Yale, deals a first pitch, taken high above the letters for ball number 1 here to Will Taylor, the outfielder out of Clemson. Back in the first, Easterly facing only 4 as he gave up just a leadoff single to Zach Earhard. Here's the pitch, and it's ripped into left field for a base hit. Sharply off the bat at that time of Will Taylor, And in his first time up, he gets a leadoff single here in the second, and that forces Reed Easterly work out of the stretch. Well, that was certainly the hit that Eric Beattie, the head coach of the Harbor Hawks, for the Harbor Hawks in their second hit on the ball game. Harwich taking its first lead in the second with a 2-run single, getting those 2 runs and 2 hits, but left the bases loaded. So Harwich looking for as many early runs as possible here, Courtney, given that they were able to get out ahead early against the Cotuit Kettleers, the best team in the Cape Cod Baseball League last night. So that forces John Gazdar, the shortstop, to step in as he takes it on the inner half for ball number 1. Well, the Mariners getting 2 strikeouts from Easterly in a row to close out the side in the bottom of the first, as it's a 2-0 lead for Harwich here in the bottom of the second. The pitch from the left-hander, bounced over towards the shortstop, Gamarillo. He charges in, tosses the second for 1, the throw into first on the bounce, and it gets away from the first baseman in Anderson, as the only out is made at second. They get the lead runner in Taylor, but instead it should be an error against the Mariners, as it was just too much for Anderson to try and dig out that time. The Harbor Hawks getting their first 2 hits here, the first inning and change, as that draws in Aaron Parker, the catcher. So Anderson unable to make the catch on the bounce that time for what would have been a 6-4-3 double play. A runner on first here with 1 away in the second.
Wyatt, the Mariners tend to produce their best brand of baseball when they strike early and often.
Yeah, I was just looking at the Harwich Mariners this season, 10-6 when they do score first, leading after 6 innings. Courtney, they are 14-3. That certainly took it to another level last night in that win over Cotuit, as the 0-1 is outside. So 1-1 the count here to Aaron Parker. Gazdar just reaching on the 6-4 fielder's choice, and what would have been a 6-4-3 double play for the first 2 outs. The pitch tapped to the left side, fouls. It's 1-2 here to Parker. Starting catcher here tonight, native of Los Altos, California. Hitting .189 with a pair of RBIs and 1 double, 7 walks this season for the Harbor Hawks. Just 2 games behind the Cotuit Kettleers for second in the Cape Cod West standings. The 1-2 from Easterly, and a breaking ball misses low, gets away from you all the way to the right side of the home plate circle as Gazdar trots into second after reaching on a 6-4 fielder's choice. So the Mariners missing their chance at their 24th double play on the season, and that has affected them at major times this season when you consider how they've been able to get out of innings at quicker rates rather than others. Now a runner on second here, and John Gazdar, the shortstop. The pitch taken just high at the letters, as it's 2-2 here, or 3-2 for that matter.
Gazdar on a 6-game hitting streak with 8 hits and 2 RBIs.
So a wild pitch here from Easterly with a runner in scoring position and 1 away. The payoff pitch ripped to the left side on 1 bounce for Camarillo. He steps to his left. A soft throw to first, and it's in time as that keeps the runner in Gazdar at second. A nice read that time from Camarillo. Certainly had a lot of slow movement on it over to the left side on the ground as there are 2 away here in the second.
Camarillo getting a lot of action early in the shortstop position this evening.
Yeah, he's certainly seen a lot of fielding opportunities here.
On the ground, in the air.
The first pitch to Eric Snow, lofted foul to the right side for strike number 1. Snow actually out of South Florida to fit into this kind of Christmas and July theme, kind of a oxymoron, if you will. Eric Snow with that last name, playing at South Florida down in Tampa for the South Florida Bulls. Meanwhile, Easterly, the left-hander out of Yale, out of the stretch with a runner on second in Gazdar. There's the 0-1 deal. Shot down the right side, but it takes a bounce foul towards the Harwich bullpen, and it's 0-2.
Yeah, the Florida native in Eric Snow has probably not experienced a white Christmas.
Well, he's from Forsyth, Georgia, but still closer to the Sunbelt climate that you would expect. This past season at South Florida, actually led the Bulls in hitting at .343, had quite the outstanding year. Here's a 2-strike pitch, and it's tapped over towards the left side. Culpepper tried to scoop it. Instead, it goes into left field. Around third, Gazdar, as he holds right there, and had the stop sign from the third base coach and Eric Beattie, as there are runners on the corners with 2 away, as Cam Smith, or Trey Lipsy, the center fielder out of Ohio State, will dig in here with an opportunity to draw in 1 run.
Wyatt, Gazdar looked like he wanted to turn and head for home, but received the signal to stop.
And a smart move as well. The Mariners would have likely had him with the left fielder in Lambros out of Maryland, likely with the good arm, making his debut here today. Remain yet to be seen what he would have done there. The first pitch here to Lipsy is rolled over towards right side, past the mound, a diving grab by Seaver King, but it goes into center field. Lambrose will score on a 2-out RBI single, and the Mariners' lead is sliced in half at 2-1 here in the second. Just a little bit past the diving glove of the Wingate transfer and Seaver King as he was at the lip of the outfield grass, just behind the second base bag. As our runners on first and second here, an RBI single here from Lipsy, giving the Harbor Hawks a little bit of life here. As our runners on first and second. Here for Zach Earhart, the leadoff hitter. Right fielder singled to center field back in the first for the game's first hit. The second hit, the first for Hyannis. The first pitch bounced over towards the left side. Camarillo moving to his right, fires onto first, and it's just in time. Seaver King doing a good job of reading the play as Camarillo was at the lip of the outfield grass. But Hyannis gets its first run here on the game and trims the Harwich lead in half, getting that first run on 3 hits, no errors, and leaving 2 on. Harwich still ahead 2-1 going into the third inning here from McKeon Park in Hyannis. We'll step aside here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. The Harwich Mariners ahead of the Hyannis Harbor Hawks 2-1 going here into the third. Kevin Karstetter, Kalen Culpepper, and Ethan Anderson do up here, the 3-4-5 hitters against the right-hander out of Iowa in Zach Volker. Harwich with 2 runs on 3 hits. Hyannis with a run on 4 hits, getting its first run on the game with a run on 3 hits, leaving 2 on in the second inning. Karstetter, the State College of Florida native, awaits the first pitch, and he fouls it to the right side for strike number 1. Well, Karstetter 0 for 1 here today, but has made a very strong impression here in the top third of the lineup for 20th-year head coach Steve Englert. Has a pair of 3-hit games already in his first 3 here in Harwich. Volker winds and deals the 0-1, and it's just taken outside on a slider. It goes to 1-1 here. Certainly someone who is excited about going to Arizona State. I caught up with him in batting practice, Courtney, very much not only excited for the atmosphere here at the collegiate level, the 1-1 on the way, and the Iowa product deals a swing and a miss to make it 1-2. Very also excited just to go check out the Arizona Diamondbacks, some of those games over there, and a lot of excitement with the young talent the Diamondbacks have as well. I'm sure the Big Bopper is looking forward to that, as well as the Sun Devils culture. The pitch taken in the dirt in front of the plate as it goes to 2-2 here to the State College, Pennsylvania native.
Yeah, Wyatt, living in Scottsdale right now, getting my master's at ASU, I can confirm it is an excellent environment for all sports, but especially baseball. Lots going on with spring training, with the Diamondbacks. Also hosted the World Baseball Classic. It has been just a hot spot for baseball, so he does have a lot to look forward to.
Already a couple of RBI base knocks, but he strikes out swing on a high fastball for the first out here in the third as he drops to 0-2 here today. So Kalen Culpepper, the third baseman, the cleanup hitter out of Kansas State, steps in with the Mariners ahead 2-1 here in the top of the third. A 2-run single from Ali Camarillo, getting the Mariners ahead first. Here's the first pitch. Change up on the upper half for strike number 1 here. Volker, the Granite Bay, California native, helped Iowa to another regional appearance this year. The pitch, sky to the right side, towards the right side, and the first baseman, York, out of Grand Canyon, will run out of room as it trails behind the Harwich dugout. It's 0-2 here to Culpepper. Just getting back from the Team USA Collegiate National Team as well. Culpepper has not wasted a lot of time as he batted 2 for 4 with a pair of RBIs in that 10-2 win against Katuitt last night. He has to protect here. The 0-2 from Volker. Slider cut on and foul tipped just off the glove of Aaron Parker, the catcher here today.
Culpepper's teammate Nick Goodwin, former Harwich Mariner last summer, was drafted in the 7th round of the 2023 MLB draft by the Blue Jays. A few other members from Kansas State on the roster this year. Definitely a good relationship between that program and the Mariners.
To a fastball, just missing at the letters, reading Harwich in red block lettering with white outlining. Navy shirts here today for the Mariners as Culpepper in a righty-righty battle here with Volker.
Culpepper in the pink beaded necklace that you will see on many Mariners.
1-2, served high and deep out towards left field. Taylor, the Clemson outfielder, back to the track. He moves to his right and he makes the catch for a loud second out here in the third. Well, similarly to what Seaver King did to close out the second, Courtney, just a lot of power off the bats here in the upper third of the lineup, but nonetheless 2 away, and you can tell that the Mariners are coming out aggressive here, looking to get that win here in Hyannis.
Yeah, definitely the contact that you want to see, just not quite getting to the right spot.
Harwich facing a team, the Cotuit Kettleers, that led the Cape Cod Baseball League in home runs entering last night, but Cotuit did not get a home run as the Mariners won their best game on the season 10-2. First pitch to Ethan Anderson, a shot into right field, and it's down for a base hit. 2-out single for the Virginia Beach, Virginia native, as he gets on base for the first time here today, and the Mariners have a 2-out base runner to force Volker out of the stretch. And that is huge for Ethan Anderson's confidence. Drew a walk last night, Courtney. You consider how much he values that kind of hitting, especially the Mariners needing some 2-out sparks here today against a Hyannis team that has won 8 of its last 10 games. So that draws in Elijah Lambros for the second time. He cuts and misses at a pitch low and away for strike number 1 out of Maryland, making his debut here today. As Devin Obie rather on deck, Lambros on deck, and Obie stepping in here from the right side against the right-handed Volkers. Pitch missing low and inside on a slider. It's 1-1 here to the Nashville native with a runner on and 2 away. Harwich ahead 2-1 over Hyannis here at McKeon Park. Breezy night in Hyannis, Massachusetts. Obie the single to left back in the second. Looks to make it 2 for 2 here today.
3 2-hit games on the season for Obie. Looking to make that 4. Here's some fireworks going off. So fireworks in July, a little more common than Christmas in July.
A lot of Christmas music accompanied by some fireworks. 1-2 offering, bounce in front of the plate. A good stop by Parker, taking off for second. Anderson, he slides in safely. He read it well that time in the dirt on a wild pitch. And that will draw another chat here between the catcher in Parker and Volker out of Iowa. But just a new baseball of an exchange as well. So Anderson able to slide into second. The Mariners now have a runner in scoring position, looking to take a 3-1 lead here. Devin Obie on the season with 14 RBIs to this point. Came across the score on the 2-run single from Camarillo with 2 away in the second. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Here's the pitch. Slider cut on and missed as Obie goes down on strikes for the first time here today, dropping to 1 for 2. But nonetheless, the Mariners get a runner in scoring position on a 2-out single from Ethan Anderson, but he's unable to come home as Harwich brings forward to the plate and scores no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and leaves 1 in scoring position in Anderson. Still a 2-1 lead for Harwich going into the bottom half of the third. 2 runs on 4 hits for Harwich, 1 run on 4 hits here for Hyannis here on a cloudy night from McKeon Park. 2-1 lead for Harwich. We'll step away here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. sleigh ride by the Ronettes playing here at McKeon Park on an overcast night in Hyannis, Massachusetts. Christmas in July for the homestanding Hyannis Harbor Hawks. Meanwhile, the Harwich Mariners leading 2-1 with 4 hits apiece between Harwich and Hyannis. Cameron Smith, Zachary York, Brandon Ike due up here against a left-handed starter in Reed Easterly out of Yale. The first pitch to the Florida State product, a slider that bounces on the plate for ball number 1 here. Well, Hyannis slicing the Harwich deficit, or Harwich lead in half, back in the second with a run on 3 hits. Easterly looking for a clean inning here in the third as he deals a slider inside to make it 2-0 here to Cam Smith. Reach on a fielder's choice back in the first, but Easterly only faced 4 in that inning as he closed it out with back-to-back strikeouts. Here's the pitch. Fastball just misses outside. 3 balls, no strikes here to the Lake Worth, Florida native and Smith. Meanwhile, for Easterly coming off 5 shutout innings to earn his second win on the season. That was a 4-1 home victory for Harwich against Wareham. And the 3-ball pitch, and it just misses low at the knees. It's a 4-pitch walk here to Cam Smith. Meanwhile, for Easterly, the first walk dealt here today as that forces him out of the stretch here to start the bottom of the third.
Easterly activated on the roster on July 7th, but has had an incredible start so far. Like we mentioned, earning those 2 victories, Pitching Ninja Pitcher of the Week. He has just had a tremendous debut in the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Now 2 southpaws in the battle. Zach York cranks one foul to the left side for strike 1. But yeah, as you're mentioning, Courtney, I mean, you look at what Easterly brings, it's just that strikeout prowess, and 4 strikeouts entering today after dealing 56 in nearly 74 innings this past year at Yale of the Ivy League. And here's the pitch. And it's served out toward center field, moving in Humphrey, and he makes the catch on the line. Hardly had to move to his left as Smith retreats back to first by a few steps. First out here in the third. So York falls to 0 for 2 on the evening. The Grand Canyon first baseman certainly brings some power here to the Hyannis lineup in the top third. But that brings in Brandon Ike in the cleanup spot, the first pitch. Fastball pinning the outer half. First strike number 1. Smith on first. Harwich ahead 2-1 over Hyannis here at McKeon Park in Hyannis, Massachusetts. Ground ball double play opportunity available here for Easterly. The pitch. A curveball missing the outer half as the count evens up at 1-1 here.
Wyatt, we mentioned earlier the last time these 2 teams faced off, it ended in a heartbreaking tie for Harwich with an incredible comeback due to the lack of lights.
1-1 is lined into left center field over the head of Camadillo as it splits the outfielders, and Humphrey loses behind himself to the track into third. Cam Smith, he gets the wave around sign. Looking back at center field, the throw to the plate is wide. A huge opportunity here for the Harbor Hawks as they convert, as Brandon Ike gets a single and an E8 to convert for Hyannis' second run of the night, and it's a new ball game here. Harwich 2, Hyannis 2 with 1 away here in the third. But as you were saying, Hyannis certainly in the driver's seat until the late innings, in which Harwich was able to get that solo run from Ali Camadillo, a long ball, and then got a 2-run double from Devin Obi to level the game at 5 before it was called after 8 innings back at White House Field due to a lack of sufficient lighting.
Call it a coincidence or whatever you may want, but Wareham had a similar situation last year before hosting the All-Star game there, where their field was also struck by lightning, and they were scrambling to get those lights back on.
First pitch here to Will Taylor as it's roped out towards right field in foul territory. Moving to his left, Obi, he makes the catch for the second out. Tagging from second will be Ike as he stops at third. So sacrifice hit here as Taylor goes down on the fly out as he falls to 1 for 2 here today. Harwich and Hyannis now even at 2 with 2 away here in the bottom of the third. So a little bit of a blunder there from the center fielder and Jacob Humphrey. You consider that early or best case scenario that Cameron Smith would have stopped at third. There have been runners on the corners with a 1-out single. Instead, it's a new ball game here as John Gazdar, shortstop, steps in, looking to draw on a runner from third. The pitch, a fastball outside for ball number 1. So Will Taylor with a productive fly out here to move Ike over to third. Smith in to score on the E8 as Humphrey mishandled the ball in left center field. A 1-0 on the way. A fastball just missing the outer corner of the box as it's 2-0 here. Harwich and Hyannis tied at 2 runs apiece here in the bottom of the third from McKeon Park. Floodlights have come on. Still an overcast sky here. There's one Hawk sailing above Reed Easterly on the mound here. The 2-0. Slider just inside of the letters. 3 balls, no strikes here to Gazdar. So Easterly looking for his third win in as many appearances here. The left-hander out of Yale facing the Walnut Creek, California native in Gasner at 5'11", $180. Here's the pitch. A changeup on the outer half as Easterly stays alive at 3 balls and 1 strike.
Getting dark quickly tonight, like you mentioned, Wyatt. It's been cloudy. It's been overcast. Definitely some adjustment for the eyes trying to see the ball.
Yeah, you imagine if there were no lights, what it'd be like. 3-ball pitch is tapped foul back behind home plate. His count runs full. Good job here from Easterly in order to battle back. Was able to provide some key scoreless relief in the Mariners' 4-1 home victory against the Wareham Gatemen and get back in the win column 2 weeks ago, and certainly looked to do that here. The pitch is skied out towards right field, moving under at Obi. He calls it off and makes the catch. Hardly moving to his right for the final out here in the third. But nonetheless, the Hyannis Harbor Hawks drawing even here after trailing 2-0 going into the bottom of the second. Here in the third inning, Hyannis getting a run on 1 hit and 1 error and leaving 1 on in third in Ike. 2-2 ball game going into the fourth. Harwich looking for its second lead when we come back. Harwich and Hyannis deadlocked at 2 here in an interdivision battle here from McKeon Park in Hyannis, Massachusetts. Don't go away. This is Harwich Mariners Baseball on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Harwich and Hyannis tied at 2 here from McKeon Park in an interdivision battle. Harwich taking its final trip here to McKeon Park. Overcast night, the floodlights fully illuminated here, and the right-handed starter out of Iowa and Zach Volker back on the mound here to face the lower third of the order, starting with Elijah Lambros making his debut out of Maryland. Wyatt Copeland, Courtney Robinson here with you on the Harwich Mariners Network. The first pitch from the slow-winding right-hander is on the way, and it's taken just low with a changeup for ball number 1. Well, the Harwich Mariners will be hosting the Cape Cod League All-Star Game tomorrow night back at White House Field after Harwich and Hyannis tied at 5 last Sunday. An exciting night to come here tomorrow. The Mariners sending 6 to the All-Star Game. But first the 1-0 pitch, and it's taken low. Make it 2-0 here to Lambros. Reached on a walk back in the second. Courtney, the Mariners have 6 All-Stars. One of them, Devin Obi, the outfielder out of Duke, who's been quite consistent, getting numerous starts in the lineup this year under Steve Angler. The 2-0 on the way. And it's taken on the lower outside corner as the count runs to 2-1 here. You also have Mason Guerra, who had his solo home run just earlier last week to give the Mariners that late run they needed, and certainly a number of others to look forward to in that game.
Yeah, definitely a lot to look forward to on that whole day. All of the events, the festivities. It's really an exciting day, especially for it to be taking place at our home field, White House Field. Lots of preparations, home run hitting contest. Just all around an exciting day, and really an honor for our 6 All-Stars to be representing Harwich at home.
Due to a slider dipping outside to make it 3-2 here. Yeah, you have not only the hitting represented in the lineup, at least considering how much Harwich has looked to that contact-heavy lineup. Tom Shimoleski, the left-handed starter, going as well as the 3-2 is bounced to the left side. 2 bounces here for Gazdar, the shortstop, at the lip of the outfield grass. A high throw, not in time. Infield single here for Elijah Lambros as he picks up his first hit here in a Harwich Mariners uniform as there's a leadoff runner on here in the fourth. Yeah, just going back to what you were saying, it should be an exciting evening. Harwich hosting the All-Star Game, but also in what is the 100th season of Cape Cod baseball as well. Started all the way back in 1923 with 4 teams. You have the Osterville Townies no longer in existence, and then You had three other teams as well in which the Mariners are looking in, meanwhile, as the second half of the season begins to wind down, to have a strong playoff run here. Andrew Yu now steps up and lines it back into the screen for strike number one. An exciting season. You've had a 5-game win streak here for the Mariners, and they began to find their footing as of last night again after that devastating 5-5 tie for which you mentioned here against Hyannis back at White House Field on Sunday. And you just had the Mariners in full control last night with their hitting over Katuitt. The pitch, changeup clip in the lower half.
And Saturday, the game will be streamed on NESN at 8 o'clock with a delayed stream. Wyatt, will that be your NESN debut?
It will. No NESN broadcast for the Mariners this season. NESN has been around across the other 9 teams for the most part in the Cape Cod Baseball League, but a runner on first and nobody away here for you, looking to stay alive in the count. A 2-strike pitch. Volker misses low and away on a slider. 1-2 here to the Nashville native.
Yeah, like we said, lots to look forward to that day, but if you can't make it out, you can catch the stream of the All-Star game on NESN.
So Andrew Yu with a walk back in the second, looking to move on to a scoring position again here in the fourth with the Harwich Mariners and the Hyannis Harbor Hawks tied at 2. Here's a 2-strike pitch. It's bounced over towards the right side. Snow, the second baseman, flips to second for one. The throw in a first is in time. A 4-6-3 double play clears the bases here for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks, looking to get a 1-2-3 job here despite a leadoff single, as there are 2 away here for Ali Camadillo, who came up and delivered the 2-run single to get the Mariners their first lead on the ball game back in the second. We'll see what he can do here.
Already extended his 3-game on-base streak tonight with that excellent hit. Looking to get a 2-hit game as well.
Volker rather looking to face the minimum here. Camadillo hitting in the 9-hole here today. Had the 2-run single to right field in the second. The first pitch from the Iowa product. The breaking ball cut on and missed. First strike number 1 here. Volker at 6'1", 215. Had not faced the minimum to this point here, as the bases are now empty with 2 away here in the fourth. The 0-1 on the way. Right-handed Camadillo watches it low and outside as it goes to 1-1. Volker in his last outing here for the Harbor Hawks, 4 strikeouts, only 1 earned run allowed in that 4-3 win against Bourne, a team that's also gotten hot in the West Division.
Camadillo leads the Mariners with 6 2-hit games.
And he's had 3 in a row as well. It has been nothing but short of excellence here for the Chula Vista, California native, but the bases are empty. 2 down here, Harwich and Hyannis tied at 2. 4 hits for the Harwich Mariners, 5 hits for the Harbor Hawks. Here's the pitch, and it's shot high out towards left field, moving to his left Taylor. Both outfielders going back, and instead Lipsy, the center fielder, makes the catch. Loud out number 3 here, as Camadillo gave it a good charge back towards the 380 marker, or 360 marker, I should say, in left center field. Harwich bringing 3 to the plate, and it's the minimum here for the right-handed pitcher in Volker. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, and nobody left on, as Harwich and Hyannis are still locked at 2 going into the bottom half of the fourth here from McKeon Park on an overcast night. This is Harwich Mariners Baseball on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Harwich and Hyannis tied at 2 in their final meeting on the season. Interdivision battle here from McKeon Park. Overcast evening with the floodlights on. Reed Easterly, the left-handed starter out of Yale, back on the mound here to face the lower third in the order, and Aaron Parker, Eric Snow, and Trey Lipsy here for Hyannis. Harwich picking up the game's first 2 runs in the top of the second. The first pitch missing high at the letters for ball number 1. Wyatt Copeland and Courtney Robinson here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. We appreciate you sticking with us here on this Friday night. The All-Star game, Harwich set to host at White House Field tomorrow. The pitch, a fastball missing the outer half. 2 balls, no strikes here to Parker. 0 for 1 here today with the ground out to shortstop back in the second. Getting the start behind the dish here tonight for Zach Volker, the right-hander out of Iowa. And the pitch, taken for a strike just high as it's 2-1. Los Altos, California native at 5'9", 208. 4 hits, 1 RBI, 5 walks in the last 5 games. Easter looking for a 1-2-3 job here in the 4th. 2-1 missing the outer half. 3-1 here to Parker.
Parker used to playing baseball in the warm sunshine. UC Santa Barbara player. He is not used to the gloomy weather like this. Probably an adjustment this summer at the Cape, seeing the ball in this gray sky.
And they call it Christmas in July as well. The cold weather is certainly apparent as well. The payoff pitch, and it's a slider. It misses outside, forces you out of the catcher's stance. A leadoff walk here. And for Easterly, just his second walk issued here tonight. He's been able to keep the pitches under control, but now he'll face another powerful bat in Eric Snow, the freshman out of South Florida of the American Athletic Conference, already with a hit back in the second.
Wyatt, we've mentioned the cold weather a few times tonight. You have to wonder if that has any impact on how these guys are playing, whether it's the cold hands, cold muscles.
Grounded to the right side on a 2nd for 1. The throw into first is not in time. A fielder's choice here for Eric Snow. He reaches for the 2nd time as Aaron Parker is out on the 4-6 play at second. I know you begin to wonder, does it affect you mentally, if not physically? I mean, not a lot of moisture in the air, so it's not like there's a lack of traction on the ball as you might experience on a sultry night. So Snow reaches first, and there's 1 away here in the bottom of the 4th with Harwich and Hyannis tied at 2. 1 away as the 9-hole hitter in Trey Lipsy out of Ohio State steps in. First pitch, a bunt shown, and it's laid down. Reed Easterly to his right off the mound. The southpaw picks it up, fires onto first, not in time. The runner at second, Snow now, as he's able to move over on the little bit of force play. So runners on first and second here still with 1 away. A wise bunt that time moved from the left-handed hitter in Lipsy. Now you have to move. You have to admit, that was a crafty move that time from Eric Beatty, the head coach of Hyannis, to call for the bunt that time. Now runners on first and second, still just 1 away here. As that flips the lineup card here for Zach Earhard, the right fielder. Lots to see on that play. Force Easterly, the left-hander out of Yale, to move quickly off the mound.
Earhard entering tonight with a 3-game hit streak.
So a bunt single here. And the first pitch bouncing low on a slider for ball 1. Reach on a fielder's choice to close out the second on a 6-4 play. A much-needed out for Easterly as Hyannis tacked on a run then and then got a run in the 3rd. Now the 1-0 on the way, a slider missing inside as it goes to 2-0. Earhard, the right fielder, leading off here today for Hyannis. Tampa, Florida native at Oklahoma State, standing at just 5'11", $185, hitting .241 this season for Hyannis. Has 13 RBIs, looks to make it more here. The pitch taken low and inside. 3 balls and no strikes here from Easterly. Lefty-righty battle. Eric Snow leading South Florida in hitting. He's on second, Lipsy on first with a bunt single to the pitcher in Easterly. Just 1 away here in the bottom of the 4th. Now another bunt shown and pulled back as it goes outside. Anyway, it'll be a 4-pitch walk here for Earhard as he reaches for what would be the 3rd time here today. The 3rd walk issued by Easterly. So despite having a high number of strikeouts through his first 2 outings, Easterly running into a little bit of trouble here and not being able to show enough command. As the bases are loaded here, Snow on 3rd, Lipsy on 2nd, and Earhard on 1st with the 1-out walk. As R.J. Thomas, the pitching coach, and Andrew Yu, the battery mate here to Easterly, will now congregate on the mound here to discuss mechanics. Just one right-hander starting to warm up with the bullpen catcher and Garrett Davis down in the Harwich bullpen on the right side here at McKeon Park. It's a relatively cool evening here. Harwich looking for back-to-back wins here tonight after beating Katuitt 10-2 last night, a team that Courtney remains only ahead of Hyannis That means the only 20-win team, as Hyannis took a 15-5 victory against the Orleans Firebirds last night to get that 20th win. But going into last night, Cotuit was the only 20-hit team in the Cape Cod Baseball League and actually took a 12-12 tie. We talked about it numerous instances last night about how it was ahead so convincingly, so early, and was online to win wire to wire for what some would say. But Chatham, despite being a struggling team, fought back to draw with Cotuit before a surprising loss, some would say, for the Cotuit Cavaliers, on pace to win the Cape Cod West Division standings. But that is narrowing here as Cameron Smith steps in. The first pitch, he rockets out to right field, moving to his left Obi, and it's down for a base hit.
Yeah, White, like you said, totaling 10 runs over a 20-win opponent can kind of shift the morale of a team and is really what the Mariners needed as they got back into the win column.
So Snow across the score on the one-out base hit here from Cameron Smith. The Florida State product was on a 15-game hitting streak and now moves it to 16 after getting a walk in the third. And now Zach Earhart on second and Lipsy on third here. The base is still loaded here for Zachary York. The first pitch taken low and outside on a slider for ball number 1. So Reed Easterly giving Hyannis its first lead here. 3 runs for Hyannis and 2 here for Harwich. Now 7 hits here for the Harbor Hawks, a team that has hit quite well over its last 10 games with 71 RBIs entering tonight, 12 home runs. Harwich has come close to a couple of home runs as well. The 1-0 on the way, bounce to the right side, over to his left. King sliding, fires onto second for 1, and it's in time. But a run comes across the score in Lipsy as the Harwich Mariners now trail 4-2, as the only out available was at second as there were 2 away. So a 4-2 lead here for Hyannis, making its presence felt, moving from the third to the fourth. Got another run back to tie it in the third at 2 runs apiece. Now taking a 4-2 lead here in the fourth.
Easterly held a team low of 2.95 earned runs against at Yale. Tonight he's let up 4 against the Hawks.
This one rolled over towards the left side. Culpepper onto second for 1, and it's a force play. So with the bases loaded, it gets York out at second. But nonetheless, the Harwich Mariners now fall behind by 2, trailing 4-2, going here into the 5th inning here from McKeon Park on Easterly's choppy waters face. 2 runs on 4 hits thus far for Harwich and 4 runs on 7 hits for Hyannis. Harwich looking for answers here, now trailing by 2. 4-2 here from McKeon Park. This is Harwich Mariners Baseball on the Harwich Mariners YouTube Network. The Harwich Mariners trailing the Hyannis Harbor Hawks 4-2 here at McKeon Park in Hyannis, Massachusetts. New pitcher into the ballgame for Hyannis, the left-hander at 5'11", 185, and Cade Obermiller. Set to face the leadoff hitter in Jacob Humphrey if he fouls it to the right side for strike number 1. This season here for Hyannis, left-handed Obermiller with a 3.38 ERA, 1-0 in the season. Also of Iowa, similar to the starter in Zach Volker. Meanwhile, Jacob Humphrey on the day, 0 for 1, reached as a hit batsman back in the second. The pitch, a cut and a miss on a fastball as it goes to 0-2 here on the UMass Lowell product. So it was a good start here from the starter in Volker as he went 4 innings, giving up just 2 earned runs in addition to 4 strikeouts. The 0-2 on the way, and it gets taken looking on the inner half as it's the first strikeout here for Obermiller, the left-hander reliever, as there's one away here in the top of the 5th to draw in Seaver King.
Yeah, Wyatt Humphrey looked like he knew that one just got him. No question there. Some quick work right out of the gate for Obermiller.
So Humphrey falling to 0 for 2 on the day, struck out swinging in the first as Seaver King 1 for 2 here today, in with 1 out in the 5th. He watches it inside on a slider for ball number 1. Sailed to center field back in the first and flew out to center field back in the second as Harwich trails Hyannis 4-2 here. 2 runs in the bottom of the 4th inning for Hyannis, getting them ahead for the first time. Pitch taken on a fastball in the outer half as it goes to 1-1 here to the Wingate transfer in King.
King headed to Wake Forest in the fall. Has a 4-game hit streak right now.
He has been dominant as he cuts and misses at an off-speed pitch low to make it 1-2 here, with Harwich trailing 4-2. 4 hits for the Mariners, 7 hits for the Harbor Hawks. Harwich coming off its 10-2 win over Katuitt last night, looking to get closer into second place. Still 3.5 games rather, out of first place in the Cape Cod East Division standings. The pitch taken on the inner half, a slider just at the waist of Seaver King. 2 looking strikeouts here for Obermiller, the 6th strikeout here for the Mariners tonight. A rare strikeout here for Seaver King. His 9th strikeout on the season. Kevin Karstetter, the State College of Florida transfer, stepping in here with 2 away here in the 5th. Harwich trailing 4-2 against the Harbor Hawks after taking a 2-run lead into the bottom of the 2nd, but now 4 unanswered runs for the Harbor Hawks, giving them an advantage here as Karstetter watches it inside at the knees for ball number 1. 0 for 2 here today with a pair of swinging strikeouts. Karstetter entering tonight with already 2 3-hit games in his first 3 outings on the season. Stays at 6'3", 215, the right-hander out of IMG Academy. The pitch, a check swing, and it was just tapped back behind home plate as it's 1-1 here. Kalen Culpepper on deck with the Mariners looking for another hit here.
Yeah, Wyatt, in the first 4 innings, we've had some close calls with this net right here behind home plate.
Yeah, thank goodness for it. The 1-1 is bounced to the right side foul, as Karstetter will have to shield here at 1-2.
Karstetter ended his JUCO career leading the country in hits with 103, and he also led in doubles with 30.
Yeah, and it could have translated any point sooner when you consider how much the Mariners need the extra base hitting, not to mention just some power hitting as well. Has to protect here against Obermiller, the left-hander. The 2-strike pitch goes way inside, away from the glove of the catcher and Aaron Parker, as Karstetter had to back away off the right-handed batter's box.
You mentioned a hot start for Karstetter in his Mariners debut. It's been a pretty quick adjustment to wooden bats for him as he's come onto the Cape and already made an impact for Harwich.
Decided to go to the JUCO route after finishing up at IMG Academy down in the Bradenton, Florida area. The 2-strike pitch again, and it just misses low at the knees. It's 3-2 here. 2 away here in the top of the 5th for Harwich. A pair of looking strikeouts, giving the left-hander in Obermiller out of Iowa a chance to retire the Mariners in order, and would be the first time here tonight. 4-2 deficit for Harwich. The 2-strike pitch tapped over towards the right side. A couple bounces for York as the Grand Canyon first baseman steps on the bag just in time, as it's a 1-2-3 job here for the first reliever for Hyannis in Obermiller of Iowa. A pair of looking strikeouts and a ground out, 3 unassisted, giving the Mariners no momentum here in the 5th. They go down in order, still trailing 4-2. Nothing across for Harwich going into the bottom of the 5th. Halfway home here from McKeon Park on an overcast night. We'll step away. This is Harwich Mariners baseball on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Four to 2 deficit for the Harwich Mariners, moving into the bottom half of the 5th here from McKeon Park on the road to take on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. The night for the left-handed starter in Reed Easterly comes to a close after 4 innings. Gave up 4 runs on 7 hits, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts. Wyatt Kopelman, Courtney Robinson here with you on the Harwich Mariners Network. The new right-hander is Matt Boynton making his season debut. The first pitch on the way drills, or almost drilled, the right-handed hitter in Will Taylor. Seemed to almost catch the elbow guard, but out of Murray State, he's making his debut. He's looking for a quick first inning here in the 5th.
6'2", 195, Tallahassee, Florida native from Tallahassee Community College, transferred to Murray State, making his Harwich debut tonight. He dealt 11 scoreless appearances in 22 total games, and now he is a rising redshirt senior at Murray State.
2 balls and no strikes here to Taylor as the Clemson product ropes it to the left side foul. So it's 2-1. So Easterly with 2 strikeouts. Certainly ran into a little bit of trouble after a quick first inning, only faced 4. But Hyannis tacking on a run in the 2nd and the 3rd and got 2 runs for its first lead on the ball game back in the bottom of the 4th. An RBI base hit out of Cameron Smith and a 4-6 ground out, able to score 2 runs. So a new piece of lumber needed here for Taylor, the Clemson product. Seen a lot of broken bats, especially at White House Field. Saw a couple yesterday. A breezy night here at McKeon Park, and it's 2-1 here. It's the 5-hole hitter in Will Taylor. 1 for 2 here today as he singled to left field back in the 2nd, flat out to center field back in the 3rd. We'll see what can be accomplished here as the home plate umpire and Cameron Parati calls for time once again. Taylor taking his time to dig back in.
Wyatt Boynton making his Harwich Mariners debut tonight. What kind of mindset do you think he has coming into pitch in the Cape League for the first time?
Well, of course, you have to go out by out. I mean, you can't imagine looking any further in the lower half of the lineup when your job is to throw strikes, of course, get quick outs, and, of course, your team being behind for the first time 4-2 here. You just have to get quick outs as this one is tapped off the leg of Taylor.
Definitely. Probably a one pitch at a time mindset right now for Boynton.
And Harwich coming off of that 10-2 win against Katuitt last night. You have to imagine that Boynton took a lot of what Harwich got out of its starter in Zane Probst on a season-high 5 innings. The 3-1 is low and away. It's a 5-pitch walk here to Taylor. So leadoff base runner here for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks as he reaches for the second time here today, as that forces Boynton to work out of the stretch here. Boynton just activated earlier today. The Boynton Beach, Florida native, or rather the Tallahassee native. Blake Purnell also available out of the bullpen here today.
Yeah, with a 5-pitch walk to his first batter faced, gonna have to just kind of try to reset his mindset, get a fresh start right now as a new batter steps into the box.
At 6'2", 195, the Murray State product out of the Ohio Valley Conference. Just an opportunity here to get a couple of quick outs with a ground ball double play. Taylor was set to go off for a second that time, but it's a foul ball here from John Gazdar, the shortstop. Pitch fouled off again back behind home plate as it's 0-2 here. Gazdar out of Austin P. The Chabot College transfer, hitting .325 there with 22 RBIs before electing to transfer, hitting .262 with the Harbor Hawks this season, as they have a 4-2 lead over the Harwich Mariners here in the bottom of the 5th from McKeon Park. The runner takes off again, a slider bounced to the left side. Culpepper fires onto first. The third baseman makes it in time for the first out here in the 5th, as the Harbor Hawks have a runner in scoring position in Taylor. Yep, as you mentioned, just about getting quick outs here. The defense beginning to move behind Boynton there, as the Mariners have not scored since getting the game's first 2 runs back in the second. A 2-run single from Ali Camadillo to draw in Elijah Lambrose and Devin Obey.
Harbor Hawks do have a runner in scoring position, and Parker has 1 RBI on the last 5 games for Hyannis.
Now the runner takes off for third, a throw down to third, as it is not in time. A stolen base here for Will Taylor as the Clemson product used his speed to his advantage.
Yeah, that throw just a little bit wide from you. Culpepper had to dive a little bit for that. Otherwise, might have been an out.
So the first stolen base here for Hyannis on the evening. The 1-0 is foul to the right side foul. 1-1 here to Parker. 0 for 1 here tonight with a leadoff walk back in the 4th. Has 4 hits, an RBI, and 5 walks this season. Certainly looks to add another RBI here. A pitch on the way and a fastball inside as it backs him off the plate. 2-1 here to Parker. Harwich behind 4-2 against the Hyannis Harbor Hawks here in the bottom of the 5th. Just 1 away here for the new right-hander in Boynton, making his debut out of Murray State here. Works with a runner on third here. And a 2-1 offering. Slider missing inside at the letters as it's 3-1. Well, Hyannis, a team that has hit much better in the month of July compared to the month of June, had just 57 RBIs and has nearly doubled that to this point. 111. July's not even over yet. A runner on third here for Hyannis with 1 away. The pitch spiked back behind home plate as it's a full count here to Parker. Good job here from Boynton, able to battle back, working with the runner on third, facing a bit of pressure here. The Harwich infield is playing in, particularly the right side and King and Anderson at second and first.
Parker with 31 RBIs during his second season at UC Santa Barbara, definitely looking to tally on another one in the Cape League.
Well, instead, he fights off a payoff pitch as it goes low and inside, and it's a 1-out walk here. Good opportunity here for Hyannis to threaten with runners on first and third here. So it's just 1 away for Eric Snow, the freshman out of South Florida. It's Taylor on third and Parker on first now. 6-3 ground out, getting the Mariners their first out here in the debut of Matthew Boynton out of Murray State. Meanwhile, Snow 1 for 2 here tonight. First pitch, a slider low and out and away for ball number 1. So Taylor on third off the stolen base, moved into scoring position on a 5-3 ground out. Mariners looking to give Boynton a little bit of help here. Ground ball double play can close it out with still 1 away here in the bottom of the 5th. 1-1 is lined through the left side for a base hit. Taylor will score standing up as he essentially walks home. Into second will be Parker, as it's a 5-2 lead here for the Harbor Hawks on a 1-out RBI hit as Boynton continues to work out of the stretch here.
Snow knocks in his 10th RBI of the summer with that hit.
A good piece of hitting here for Snow, who certainly hit well over 300 here at Florida State, as the umpiring crew and Cameron Perotti, the home plate umpire, leaving the home plate circle here with Trey Lipsy, the center fielder, due up, and Eric Beatty now going out to have a word with the umpiring crew here. I'm not sure what the word of discussion is here.
A few different conversations going on right now.
Overcast skies here at McKeon Park, but thunderstorms have not threatened all afternoon here. And I think
It looks like they're talking about the lights.
the light tower, one of them has gone out here. And of course, you have 8 light towers here at McKeon Park, but you consider how that tries to maybe impact the game here.
Yeah, one light tower almost fully out. A few other, with a handful of lights missing.
A little bit of a defunct light setup here.
Yeah, probably only 75% light. Math isn't my forte, but there's definitely a good chunk of lights missing.
So the concerns over the Christmas music and how long that would play have subsided, and now those have shifted towards the lighting situation here at McKeon Park. It is interesting. You consider that Red Wilson Field, one of the ballparks that has lacked lighting, and the last time the Harbor Hawks and the Mariners played, it was at White House Field when there were no lights because of an electrical outing due to a thunderstorm that had rolled in 2 nights prior. So it looks like we may be without some expected lighting here at McKeon Park, with Harwich trailing 5-2 here against the Harbor Hawks here in the bottom of the 5th. Still just one away here for the right-handed reliever, and the first reliever here for Harwich in Matt Boynton, making his debut out of Murray State.
You have to wonder if the light outages are coming as a surprise, because when it's known that the lights don't work, typically the start time is bumped up to 4:45. It just gets too dark too quickly to play without full lights.
So an RBI single here from Eric Snow to draw in Trey Lipsy, as both teams have left the field here with one away in the bottom of the 5th. Well, to consider that a complete game in the Cape Cod Baseball League is considered 5 full innings, I wonder how much room that the Mariners have to consider this one full, because it doesn't seem as if they're going to be able to power the lighting system back on anytime soon with the number of lights that have gone out here on the field of the Hyannis Harbor Hawks in McKeon Park.
And we know Harwich coach Steve Englert.
He's adamant about playing, too.
He likes to play.
He likes to play.
Possible. Doesn't cancel for just anything.
Yeah, thunderstorms have not been looming for most of the part here today. The radar as of this afternoon had resembled the storm staying west of Cape Cod, as I'm sure you may have seen, Courtney. Harbor Hawks bullpen having some fun with college football season looming. They're starting to get the pigskin out in left field, and now a punt scene here from about 40 yards shy of the left field line. But looks like Eric Beatty is trying to get a sense of what the Harbor Hawks are going to elect doing here, because the umpiring crew is not going to sacrifice the safety of the players here in this matchup between Hyannis and Harwich, an interdivision matchup, the final one here on the season.
Yeah, it just seems hard to catch a break this summer, whether it's the weather with rain and thunderstorms, fog outs, fog delays, and now electrical problems. There's been a whole bunch of cancellations, rescheduling.
Still have no word on what the verdict is here from the umpiring crew, the home plate umpire Cameron Perotti, the third base umpire John Grasso, and the first base umpire Mark Ruley. Ominous skies here on the grounds of Judy Walden Scarifield Field, but certainly uncertain as to what will transpire next. Well, with Harwich trailing 5-2 after taking a 2-run lead into the bottom of the 2nd, and 5 unanswered runs here in the 5th on the RBI signal from Eric Snow. We'll take a short break and hopefully have a decision on what the verdict is when we come back. The Harwich Mariners and the Hyannis Harbor Hawks in a lighting delay here with one away in the bottom of the 5th. We'll step away here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. The Harwich Mariners in a 3-run deficit, 5-2 against the Hyannis Harbor Hawks here at McKeon Park. A lighting deficiency pausing play here between the Hyannis Harbor Hawks and the Harwich Mariners. Harwich getting on the board first in the top of the second with a 2-run single from Ali Camarillo, the shortstop of Texas A&M. But Hyannis got a run back in the second and got a game-tying lead in the third as well. Still no decision on what will happen next with one away here in the bottom of the 5th inning. An RBI single from Eric Snow out of South Florida, getting Hyannis further ahead 5-2. 5 runs on 8 hits here for Hyannis and 2 runs on 4 hits here for Harwich. One potential solution here to the lighting deficiency with some of the light towers out is to completely turn off the system and reignite or repower the actual system. The floodlights in the outfield, 4 of them are currently illuminated. The one on the third baseline and the first baseline are on as well, but the 4 behind home plate right now are not functioning to their fullest capabilities. So the Harwich Mariners and the Hyannis Harbor Hawks within 3 of each other. Hyannis at 20-12-2 on the season. Harwich earning its 15th win on the season last night with a 10-2 victory over the Cape Cod leading Cotuit Cavaliers. Now 3.5 games out of first place in the Cape Cod East Division standings after the Orleans Firebirds, their predecessor, at second in the standings at 16-15 now, following a 15-5 loss last night against the Hyannis Harbor Hawks, a team that has certainly caught fire as of late, and that is an understatement. Hitting .319 with 71 RBIs and 12 home runs hit in its last 10 games, 8-1-1 in that time span. With runners in scoring position this season, Hyannis hitting .272, and that has helped the Harbor Hawks 2 games behind the Cotuit Cavaliers for first place in the Cape Cod West Division standings in order to draw closer to a first place standing out in the West Division. Right now, Hyannis is ahead of Harwich 5-2, 8 hits for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks and 4 for the Harwich Mariners. Harwich has fallen to Hyannis twice this season and tied in its latest matchup with 5 unanswered runs late going into the 8th inning, in which Harwich was able to tie the game in the 8th inning. But we have yet to resume play here at Judy Walden Scarifield Field on the grounds of McKeon Park in Hyannis, Massachusetts. Harwich taking its final trip here to Hyannis before the All-Star game tomorrow, in which Harwich hosts the Cape Cod All-Star game. Harwich sending 6 to the All-Star game on its home field. One of them, the starting left-handed pitcher in Tom Shimolewski out of Princeton, not to mention a couple of strong contact hitters in Brian Arndt, the UNC Wilmington catcher, has had numerous RBIs on the season and has an 11-game on-base streak to lead the Mariners. Mason Guerra starting with an 11-game hitting streak. But Harwich right now just trying to make it back-to-back wins here on the grounds of the Hyannis Harbor Hawks after taking a 2-0 lead into the bottom of the second, in which he got a 2-run single from Ali Camarillo. Reed Easterly, his final line, he allowed 4 earned runs with 7 hits, despite giving 2 strikeouts here for a pitching staff in Harwich that has begun to lower its ERA over the past 10 games. Harwich entering tonight with an ERA at just under 3. So the Mariners and the Harbor Hawks still trying to get play resumed here, but still nothing to be determined as of yet. The umpiring crew and Cameron Perotti, John Grasso, and Mark Ruley still awaiting a decision from the facilities operations crew here at McKeon Park. Taking a look around the Cape Cod baseball scoreboard, the Chatham Anglers ahead of the Orleans Firebirds on the road at Eldridge Park, 6-3 for an Anglers team entering tonight with 9 wins and 20 losses. Did draw even with the Cotuit Cavaliers at 12 runs apiece over at Lowell Park. Meanwhile, the Yarmouth Dennis Red Sox 11 over the Brewster Whitecaps over at Stony Brook Fields. Yarmouth Dennis 11, Brewster 1. Harwich trailing Hyannis 5-2 here on the grounds of McKeon Park. Meanwhile, the Bourne Braves behind the Falmouth Commodores 7-2 over at Arnie Allen Diamond. The Cotuit Cavaliers ahead of the Wareham Gatemen 11-0 over at Spillane Field. So the Cotuit Cavaliers falling 10-2 last night, quickly regathering as they only have 3 more innings to work with in order to get that win and get back in the win column, still leading the Cape Cod West Division standings at 22-10-1. Entered White House Field last night with the most RBIs in the Cape Cod Baseball League at 185, but only got 2, as it took a relatively surprising loss to a Harwich team looking for a win last night on its home field. Was also first in runs per game at 6.3. The Mariners now throwing a couple of baseballs out in right field. Cole Rowland, one of them, the Duxbury, Massachusetts native, and the right-handed closer who already has a save here in just a small handful of outings this season for the Mariners. Also throwing a football similar to the Hyannis bullpen out in left field. But Harwich ahead 5-2, or behind 5-2 for that matter, against the Harbor Hawks, which have scored 4 unanswered runs, rather 5, going here into the bottom of the 5th from McKeon Park. Dusk is drawing closer here as the Mariners and the Harbor Hawks have some degree of lighting, but are looking for the full extent here with the light behind home plate just not working. Multiple light towers have yet to draw their full capacity of illuminance here. So with 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th. But the Mariners, despite scoring the game's first 2 runs, have yet to offer an answer here with Reed Easterly going 4 innings, the left-handed starter out of Yale. Remo on the mound for the Harbor Hawks after Zach Volker pitched a convincing 4 innings, only giving up 2 earned runs on the 2-run single from Ali Camarillo and just 5 hits, and leaving the bases loaded back in the 2nd, has certainly been filled well by another Iowa pitcher in Cade Obermiller, as the southpaw dealt a 1-2-3 job in the 5th with a pair of looking strikeouts and got a ground out as well at his first baseman in Zachary York out of Grand Canyon. Well, the Mariners allowing 5 unanswered runs. They still have time to make this one up, but despite taking the game's first lead, they trail 5-2. We'll take another break here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network and hopefully have another answer for you on how soon the lighting system can turn back on here at McKeon Park. This is Harwich Mariners baseball on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back live from McKeon Park in Hyannis, Massachusetts. The Harwich Mariners behind the Hyannis Harbor Hawks 5-2. A light delay of about 20 minutes, and the lighting system was reignited. A simple restart. Wyatt Kopelman, Courtney Robinson here with you on the Harwich Mariners Network. Trey Lipsy, the 9-hole hitter, due up with one away here on the bottom of the fifth, following an RBI hit from Eric Snow, middle infielder out of South Florida of the American Conference, as Lipsy looks to extend the lead here with runners on first and second. The right-hander in Boynton on the mound, making his debut. First pitch outside for ball number 1 to Lipsy out of Ohio State. Well, Courtney, we certainly had to wait, and it's 2-0 here.
Yeah, restarting right where we left off. It was a nice break, kind of timely for Boynton to allow him to reset and just dial back in to restart this game.
Deals a beautiful slider on the inner half for strike number 1 here. Parker on second, Snow on first with the 1-out RBI single to score Will Taylor. Working out of the stretch from the first base side, Matt Boynton. The pitch, a cut and a miss, as it's a good stop from behind home plate with Andrew Yu. 2-2 here. Harwich taking the game's first lead with 2 runs in the top of the second, a 2-run single from Ali Camarillo. Reed Easterly of Yale going 4 innings full, gave up 4 earned runs, however, as Boynton is in his first inning of relief here. Runners on first and second, and a fake pickoff attempt back at second.
Looked like he wanted to throw that, but nobody was there covering, so good thing he held on to it.
Yeah, just a disguised look against Parker, the catcher, into second on the RBI hit from Snow to left field. Christmas in July, the music of Christmas music has subsided as the 2-2 is cut on and missed. The first strikeout here for the Harwich Mariners in the reliever in Boynton as he picks up his first here in the fifth as there's 2 away. That's a good strikeout to have, especially with that 2-strike pitch to go to with the slider.
Yeah, definitely. It has to feel good to get that first strikeout under your belt. A nice confidence builder as you go into 2 outs.
First strikeout for Harwich pitching since the first. It was back-to-back from Easterly, left-handed starter of Yale to close out the first, as that flips the lineup card for Zach Earhard. And the first pitch on the way, a fastball way high as it forced him down to a knee in the right side. Ball 1 here. 5-2 deficit for Harwich, an RBI single here in the bottom of the fifth, extending the Hyannis Harbor Hawks lead. Runners still on first and second with Parker on second and Snow on first. Matt Boynton out of Murray State looking to get another strikeout here. Instead, this one is zipped out towards left field. Lambros ranging back, and he makes the catch. Final out here in the fifth. It was a good ride that time from the leadoff hitter in Zach Earhard as he sought his second hit on the night, but nonetheless, he drops to 1 for 2 here on the night. So the Mariners look to Boynton, the right-hander out of Murray State, to get out of a mini jam, but not before Hyannis adds another run. Scoring that run on 1 hit, no errors, and leaving 2 on. Harwich trailing Hyannis 5-2 going into the 6th. We'll coming on back here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. The Harwich Mariners behind the Hyannis Harbor Hawks 5-2 here at McKeon Park in Hyannis, Massachusetts. Harwich taking its final trip here to McKeon Park as Kalen Culpepper, Ethan Anderson, Devin Obie, the middle third of the order, due up after Harwich went down in order back in the 5th. 5-2 deficit for Harwich. after an RBI single for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks from Eric Snow extending the lead. Floodlights are back on here after a 20-minute light delay. Not a lightning delay, but the lights went out behind home plate. The first pitch on the way to the K-State product. A fastball on the outer half for strike one. Feliz Navidad had played on the loudspeakers during the inning break on Christmas and July theme night here in Hyannis, and that certainly hasn't subsided. It certainly tapered off for a moment with the concerns over when the lights would come back on.
I think we've seen every variation of a possible delay this summer. Fog, lights, lightning, rain. Nothing is going to surprise us anymore for what we're seeing at these games.
Blanketing fog both at White House Field, the home of the Mariners, in addition to Veterans Field, where the Mariners had a fog delay in the early goings in their latest loss there. The 1-1 is shot out towards right field. A high ball this time for the right fielder, and he's able to make the catch. Zach Earhart able to play it on the right field line, and instead it's down for a base hit. So a little bit of a tough perspective that time behind the first base umpire, Mark Ruley. And it's a leadoff single here for Culpepper. A much-needed hit here for Culpepper, moving to 1 for 3 on the day. And it's the Mariners' 5th hit on the night. Just a little bit too shallow that time for Earhart out of Oklahoma State. That draws in Ethan Anderson, the first baseman out of Virginia. 1 for 2 here today, as that forces the left-handed Obermiller, a reliever, out of the stretch. The first pitch lofted back behind home plate, foul. Mariners certainly took an early lead last night. They led 7-1 before the halfway mark over the Katuitt Kettleers at White House Field last night. But here tonight, they trail 5-2 here with none gone in the top of the 6th. Obermiller tries a pickoff attempt, and it goes away from the glove of York to his right, as that forces Culpepper into second, a wide turn into third, as he will reach standing up. So an error on the reliever in Obermiller out of Iowa, and after dealing a 1-2-3 job in the 5th, it's starting to go awry here in the 6th.
Culpepper last season at Kansas State was 100% effective on steals, never caught.
Well, he's a threat to maybe score here even on a ground out. You say maybe, it always seems like just a possibility until it becomes a reality with Anderson up here. Behind in the count, no balls, 1 strike. That's the second error of the day against the Harbor Hawks. Pitch, a fastball missing high at the letters to draw the count even at 1-1. Anderson striking out, swinging back in the second, and a 2-out single to right field back in the third. Harwich not scoring since scoring the game's first 2 in the second. 2-run single from Camarillo. The 1-1 offering is boom to the right side, foul, as the count draws to 1-2. Devin Obie on deck here for the Mariners. Came across the score on that 2-run single. Had a 2-out single to left field in the second. The Mariners got a much-needed 2-out spark. But they left the bases loaded and certainly didn't capitalize as much as they wanted to against a hot-hitting Hyannis team. Here's a 2-strike pitch from Obermiller. Fastball cut on and missed as Anderson strikes out for the second time here today. Culpepper still on third here with 1 away in the 6th. So it's a 7th strikeout here for the Mariners, and last night against the best team in the Cape Cod Baseball League in the Katuitt Kettleers, only struck out 7 times. Harwich still with 10 outs to work with here, rather 11. First pitch to Devin Obie, a changeup clipping the outer half for strike number 1.
Katuitt typically a really strong pitching unit.
Yeah, they just didn't really have it that last night. You thought they might draw a longer starter. The 0-1 on the lower half as it's quickly 0-2 here to the Duke outfielder. Brian Young made his debut out of Ryder, but only went 3 1/3. You may have considered that he was just a little bit flustered with how Harwich opened up the game with its hitting. A runner on third here, and Culpepper 1 down in the top of the 6th. Harwich behind 5-2 against Hyannis. The pitch shot down the right side, but it goes foul over the Harwich dugout.
Lots of right side action so far in the top of the 6th.
So Cade Obermiller, also an Iowa product, similar to his predecessor, the starter in Zach Volker, the tall right-hander, as he went 4 innings, gave up 2 earned runs on the 2-run single from Camarillo on 4 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. The pitch tapped to the left side. It stays fair until it rolls foul. Sliding to his right past the foul line was Obermiller, as we'll do it again at 0-2. That was some speed off of the compact left-handed hitter or left-handed hurler off the mound.
Yeah, also quick to getting to the ground to slide through that.
Yeah,
line.
seriously. You see that from Devin Obie in the outfield, but that time Obermiller tried to match it. He was prepared for it to stay fair, but it just rolled foul down the left side. Just about 5 feet shy of the third base bag where Caden Culpepper stands. He reached on a leadoff single to right field, in a shallow right field for that matter, and an E1 moving him past second. 1 on, 1 out. Here's a 2-strike pitch again, and it goes way low as Obi had to get out of the way that time. 1-2 here, the Duke outfielder. 1 for 2 here tonight.
Looked like it almost had his feet there as he was jumped back a little bit.
Yeah, almost aimed at the shoe tops, you're right. Mariners behind 5-2 here in the top of the 6th. Lefty-righty battle. A 2-strike pitch, just tapped back into the screen. Good fight here from Devin Obi. He had a 2-ball count in the 2nd and the 3rd, but now going past 5 pitches here in his 3rd time up in the 6th with 1 away and a runner on 3rd and Culpepper after a leadoff single to right. Harwich with 2 runs on 5 hits. Hyannis with 5 runs on 8 hits, but has committed its 2nd error as of here. 1-2 again. Slider bounces in the dirt as Parker caught it, lost it for a moment, and lost it for a moment in the dirt. Actually spun around as he shed the mask. As Culpepper certainly didn't think about taking off for home. A great block that time from Parker.
Culpepper looked like he might have wanted to had that gotten a little bit further away from the catcher here, but he did a great job staying on top of that.
Mariners need a run. They need it for the first time since the 2nd. The 1-2. It's tapped over towards the left side. The third baseman, Ike, charges in, fires onto first. It's in time for the 2nd out. But a run comes across the score in Kalen Culpepper as the Mariners are back on the board and now trail 5-3 here in the 6th on an RBI ground out here from Devin Obi. And that's what you need. You just need to move runners over. The Mariners exhibited that well last night, Courtney, and certainly not shy of getting that done here. 2 away here in the 6th for Elijah Lambros, making his debut out of Maryland tonight. Obermiller set at the belt. The left-handed pitcher comes home and deals it outside for ball number 1. So leadoff single here from Kalen Culpepper and an error on the left-handed reliever, the only reliever in Obermiller, moving Culpepper over to 3rd. The RBI ground out 5-3, getting Lambros up here. The 1-0, a changeup taken down the middle as it's 1-1 here. Fredericksburg, Virginia native draws even in the count. Earned a 2-out walk back in the 2nd. Leadoff single to shortstop back in the 4th. The Mariners only brought 3 as he was a victim of a 4-6-3 double play. 1-1, another changeup on the outer half as it's 1-2 here. So Obi doing a job here, doing a service here to get the Mariners to within 2. 2 away here in the top of the 6th. The Mariners getting that 2-run single back in the 2nd to take the game's first lead before 5 unanswered runs. The 1-2 offering. Lofted foul back behind home plate. We'll do it again.
Lambros started his collegiate career at South Carolina and then transferred to the University of Maryland for his sophomore season, and now he is a rising junior.
56 RBIs for a 40-win Maryland program this past season. Won its first ever Big Ten tournament title as well. He was a key part in that. There's a 2-strike pitch, and it goes inside on a slider. 2-2 the count here for the Fredericksburg, Virginia native, and to see how that might translate going forward, the Mariners losing a couple of key position players, Casey Sauke, Lorenzo Carey, in addition to Kennedy Jones. Jones particularly had been an RBI machine at times this past season. Nobody on and 2 away. The 2-strike pitch, missing low. Count runs full here to Lambros. Had 4 hits at one point with Maryland this past season, and that was on April 30th at Indiana. 64 total hits, hitting just under 290 this past season. Stands at 6'1", 193. The payoff pitch from Obermiller. And it's cut on and missed, a fastball high that time. The 2nd strikeout here in the inning for Obermiller. He has 4 total as he's gone 2 in relief after the start of Zach Volker, the right-hander out of Iowa. So the Mariners, they get a run back. They score 1 run on 1 hit, no errors, and leave nobody on. The RBI ground out from Devin Obi, bringing the Mariners to within 2, moving into the bottom half of the 6th here from McKeon Park. Harwich trailing by 2. We'll step away. This is Harwich Mariners baseball on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. The Harwich Mariners get a run back after scoring no runs since a 2-run second inning, but they still trail 5-3 as Matt Boynton, the right-hander, making his debut on the mound here tonight for the Mariners in relief out of Murray State, set to face Will Taylor, or rather Cameron Smith, the designated hitter. The first pitch from the right-hander misses low and inside for ball number 1. Wyatt Kopelman, Courtney Robinson here with you on the Harwich Mariners Network. Harwich taking its first lead in that second inning with a 2-run single from Ali Camarillo, but facing a Hyannis team second in RBIs in the Cape Cod Baseball League. A tough couple of days. The pitch tapped back behind home plate to make it 1-1. Hyannis right up there with Katuitt in considering RBI production this season, has 168 entering today, but has the third fewest walks, and the extra base hits have been apparent here for Hyannis. Cam Smith, meanwhile, certainly looking to capitalize with another hit. The pitch grounded over towards the right side. One bounce for Anderson, the first baseman. He steps to his left, and he makes an unassisted ground out over at the first base bag for the first out here in the 6th.
Cam Smith, the DH tonight, #1 shortstop in Florida out of Palm Beach Central High School, has definitely been able to show his strength on offense this summer in the Cape League as well.
And Smith is someone who really stood out for a Florida State team in its first year under Link Jarrett. The first pitch to Zach York outside for ball 1. That time, Matt Boynton trying the slider. Harwich behind 5-3 here in the bottom of the 6th. One away here for the right-handed reliever in Boynton, the first here tonight. The next pitch outside is 2-0 here to left-handed hitting York. And just going back to what you were saying, Courtney, Smith with a 16-game hitting streak had 16 multiple hits entering here tonight. Smith had the RBI single back in the 4th. The 2-0 inside on a fastball. 3-0 here.
Yeah, the all-ACC freshman had a batting average of .258 this season, but came to the Cape and is batting .339.
Big left-hander here against the right-handed Boynton. 3-ball pitch, line back into the screen. It's 3-1. So Hyannis extending its lead in a 5th inning with an RBI single from Eric Snow out of South Florida. A 5th inning that was impeded by a light delay. Not a lightning delay, but a light fixture delay. And the 3-1. And it's a slider on the inner half as York was about set to toss his bat back to the third base dugout. Another good job here by Boynton at battle back. Dealt a 3-ball count back in the 5th. And the payoff pitch. Skied out towards left center field, moving to his left Lambrose, and he'll make the catch. Hardly taking 2 or 3 steps. 2 up and 2 away here in the 6th, and Boynton certainly looking confident on the mound here in a second inning of relief.
Definitely. I think he was able to kind of recompose and dial back in during that break, and he came out very strong with the lights back on, just absolutely lighting it up.
Lighting it up.
Mound.
There you go. Hyannis is lighting it up as it restarted its power system here, or not its power system, but its floodlight system. You know, you had the outfield lights that were still on, but the ones behind home plate had begun to turn off. Brandon Ike up here as he takes a strike on the outer half for strike number 1. Christmas in July music and a lighting outage. What more could you ask for on a unique night, just the night before the Cape Cod All-Star game? Boynton with the 0-1, and it's shot down the right side, ranging into foul territory, moving to his left. Obi, and the Duke outfielder, makes the catch and loses the hat on the way. A huge running play that time from Obi as he gives Matt Boynton, the right-handed reliever, a 1-2-3 job here in the 6th as the Mariners send Hyannis down in order for the first time all night long. Harwich still behind by 2, looking to come back and tie it in the 7th as we move into the final frames here at McKeon Park. Harwich Mariners trailing 5-3. This is Harwich Mariners baseball on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. 5-3 deficit for the Harwich Mariners as a new pitcher is into the ball game here. Tony Roby out of Texas State, as Cade Obermiller's day is done after 2 innings of relief. We're bringing the final line momentarily. Meanwhile, Andrew Yu, the 8-hole hitter due up here. First pitcher the right-hander sees is cut on and missed behind home plate for strike number 1. Wyatt Kopelman, Courtney Robinson here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. 3 runs on 5 hits for Harwich here in Hyannis. 5 runs on 8 hits for the Harbor Hawks. Yu on the evening, 0 for 1 on a 4.63 ground out. Pitch, a slider low and away as the count goes even at 1-1. So Cade Obermiller out of Iowa. 2 innings of relief, just 1 unearned run, a hit, 4 strikeouts, no walks issued through 7 batters faced over 2 innings. The 1-1 offering. Fastball outside as it's 2-1 here. Harwich looking for some hitting out of the lower third of its lineup. Just 1 or 2 combined for that matter. An infield single from Elijah Lambros. Here's a 2-1 deal. Bounced over towards the right side. A few bounces here for Snow at the lip of the outfield grass. And the South Florida infielder fires it across in time for the first out here in the 7th. 4 straight retired here, moving from Obermiller into Roby, as the pitching for Hyannis has been magnificent moving here into the final innings.
Yeah, the pitching was off to a rocky start for Hyannis, and then really seemed to make some great adjustments, only allowing that 1 run in the top of the 6th, but really bouncing back from that early start where they fell behind.
Well, it's a Hyannis team that has a team ERA of just under 4 this season. High number of strikeouts, already crossing the 200 threshold. Meanwhile, Ali Camarillo stepping in against the new right-hander. First pitch, a check swing, and it's taken on the outer half for strike number 1. A 2-run single, giving the Mariners that first lead of the ball game back in the top of the 2nd as Camarillo knocked in Devin Obi and Elijah Lambros. Nobody on here with 1 away in the top of the 7th. The pitch, a cut and a miss, this time a slider, as it's 0-2 here for the rising junior of Texas A&M. Infield playing straight up here on an evening that is turned overcast into baseball after dark. The lighting system was restarted after a few of the light towers behind home plate went out. And the 2-strike offering, a slider that's off the outer half as it's 1-2, with Harwich trailing 5-3 here in the top of the 7th and 1 away here for the right-handed reliever.
Wyatt, I know there's always a handful of superstitions on each team. This year I haven't really heard of any, but
I haven't heard of any either.
I would have to say these beaded necklaces have become somewhat of a good luck charm.
Meanwhile, the 2-strike offering swung on and missed as it's the 9th strikeout here for the Mariners lineup. And you know, you have Steve Angler that does award that Cadillac necklace to a particular performer of the game. And you've seen it on some of the power hitters here on the team. You've seen it some of the pitchers as well. You got Reed Easterly the win last time as he went 4 innings here in the start, gave up 4 earned runs. I have to imagine who it would be if the Mariners are able to come back from a 2-run deficit here in the 7th inning. The first pitch, meanwhile, to Jacob Humphrey down the middle for strike number 1. Humphrey 0 for 2 here tonight, a swinging strikeout in the 1st and a looking strikeout to start off the 5th as the Mariners went down in order there. The 0-1 from Roby, and it's missing low that time on a changeup. 1-1 here to the Standish, Maine native.
Humphrey's 5 2-hit games, and there was a period midsummer where I think he was scoring multiple times a game.
1-1 is hit into center field for what should have been a broken bat single as well. It's a 2-out single as Humphrey reaches with a single for the first time here today. The Mariners had that 2-out spark going as they did back in the 2nd.
Yet 2 outs have seemed to be a time where they can really rally and get their offense going.
Well, Harwich now looking to Seaver King, a star at the Division II this past level, to try and move Humphrey into scoring position here. Harwich has not fared well when trailing after 6 innings. The first pitch is served out and towards center field, down for a base hit in left center. Humphrey with a wide turnaround second as he's off for third, and Mark Tebow, the third base coach, gives him the stop sign. Now Humphrey caught in a rundown. The throw from the shortstop in Gazdar, and the throw to the plate is in time. Jacob Humphrey tried to take advantage of an extra base as the relay throw was in time, and instead of getting Humphrey down, or down at home, I should say, Seaver King was able to avoid the rundown as the Mariners are unable to score a run to make it a 1-run deficit here in the 7th. They had Humphrey down at home, and Seaver King caught in a rundown as he tried to put an extra base on, as Harwich gets no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and leaves Nobody on here in a 5-3 deficit moving into the bottom of the 7th. It's time to stretch here at McKeon Park as you're listening to Harwich Mariners Baseball on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. So a base running blunder for the Mariners, preventing them from trimming the deficit from 2 to 1 or fewer. And instead of getting another run, the right-handed reliever in Matt Boynton back on the mound here, set to face Will Taylor, the left fielder out of Clemson. Wyatt Copeland and Courtney Robinson here with you on the Harwich Mariners Network. The first pitch on the way. Beautiful changeup down the middle for strike number 1 here to Taylor. And you consider how Boynton has settled in. Courtney, 5 straight retired here. Got the Harbor Hawks down in order in the 6th. The floodlights are on. Baseball after dark here at McKeon Park.
Making the most of his first appearance as a Mariner for sure.
This one fouled to the left side, just past the third base coach and Eric Beatty as it's 0-2. And to your point, Boynton having a strong season at Murray State this past year. 21 1/3 innings pitched. He got 2 wins.
Tossed 30 strikeouts as well.
30 strikeouts, rather getting 5 wins. Next pitch, a slider missing low and away to make it 1-2. Taylor here on the night, 1 for 2 with a walk back in the 5th as well. Came across the score on an RBI single from Eric Snow out of South Florida. The Harbor Hawks had 5-3 with nobody away. The pitch tapped over towards the left side. Culpepper fields on 2 bounces, fires across to first, and it's in time. Kalen Culpepper having to waste no time whatsoever, and he's able to get the first out here in the 7th. An excellent play as he had to hurry. Now 6 straight retired here for the right-hander and the first reliever in Matt Boynton, making his debut out of Murray State of the Ohio Valley Conference here tonight as John Gazdar, the shortstop, digs in for the 4th time here tonight. 0 for 2 in his last 2 trips. The first pitch, a fastball down the middle for strike number 1. The Mariners looking to come back late here in this one after taking a 2-0 lead after the top of the 2nd inning. Gazdar looking for the first hit meanwhile. The pitch, slider missing low and inside. 1-1 the count here. Out of Austin P at 5'11", $180 on a 6-game hitting streak with 8 hits over that time span. Nobody on here with 1 away. Pitch, a slider, and a check swing, and it was swung on anyways. It's 1-2. He went around as it was on the outer half. Gazdar reaching on a fielder's choice back in the 2nd. Flat out to right field back in the 3rd and grounded out to 3rd back in the 5th. Bases are empty here with Harwich trailing Hyannis 5-3 here on a cool night at McKeon Park. The pitch, slider cut on and missed for strike 3. Another strikeout here for the reliever in Boynton. It's his 2nd on the night in his debut as there are 2 up and 2 away here in the 7th. He really looks calm here. You consider how many he's retired in a row, and it looks like he might have the chance to get a 1-2-3 job.
Yeah, Boynton taking a nice celebratory stroll around the mound as he enters 2 outs with nobody on base.
So 7 straight retired, set to face Aaron Parker, who loops one to the left side, and it's on the ground for a base hit. Right in between the 5-6 hole here as neither Camarilla or Culpepper could get to it in time on the left side, as there's a 2-out base runner here in the 7th, and it's the 9th hit of the night here for Hyannis. So it's been a relatively sloppy night here for both Hyannis and Harwich's defense, combining for 3 errors. Hyannis with 2, Harwich with 1. Harwich is unable to get to it at that point, as Boynton, the right-handed reliever out of Murray State, works out of the stretch here to face Eric Snow. The first offering, tapped to the left side, well foul. Strike 1 here to the second baseman out of South Florida. Already 2 hits here today, both to left field. The latest, the RBI hit to left field in the 5th that extended the Hyannis lead to 5-2. Harwich getting a run back in the 6th.
Snow, no stranger to multi-hit games, led South Florida in hitting, batting .343. Also went 4 for 3 in Hyannis' victory against Bourne.
Yeah, that was a much-needed victory, and for Snow, certainly hasn't let up the momentum at South Florida here in Hyannis as well. The 0-1 try, and it's high and inside. A little chin music that time as it's 1-1. Snow, as I'm sure you may have realized, also hit above 600 in his senior year in Forsyth, Georgia. An excellent prospect out of high school. A runner on with 2 outs. The 1-1 deal. Slider tapped over towards the left side. Charging Camadillo fires onto first in time. An excellent play by the shortstop of Texas A&M, as Boynton does not face the minimum here in the 7th, but he gets a pair of groundouts and a strikeout despite a 2-out single from Aaron Parker, as Hyannis scores no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and leaves 1 on after the 2-out base knock. Harwich behind 5-3 with 6 outs remaining has a chance to tie or take the lead in the 8th inning here on a lit night here at McKeon Park. Baseball After Dark, and it's coming your way here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Five to 3 deficit for Harwich against the Hyannis Harbor Hawks, and a new pitcher into the ballgame as Tony Roby's day is done, as it's over to Dennis Collar, the right-hander out of Northeastern. Set to face Kevin Karstetter, Kalen Culpepper, Ethan Anderson, the 3, 4, and 5 hitters here in the 8th inning. Harwich in desperate need of some runs after drawing within 2 back in the 6th. The first pitch to Karstetter taken on the outer half for strike number 1. Wyatt Kopelman, and Courtney Robinson here with you on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Kalen Culpepper is on deck here. Devin Dobek certainly jumping ship here today. Used to saying that way too often here as the 0-1 chopped over towards the left side. The second baseman, Snow, moving to his left hurriedly, fires over to first, and it's in time. Karstetter falling to 0 for 4 here today. Not much time to waste that time. There's just one away here in the 8th.
It's okay, Wyatt. We've lost track of how many games into the season we are. You're in a routine, and Devin has jumped ship for the Red Sox.
He's jumped ship. He had a sweet invitation and he decided to go with something a little sweeter rather than being here on Christmas and July theme night of the Hyannis Harbor Hawks home field in McKeon Park. Baseball after dark and the All-Star game looming for the Harwich Mariners on their field at White House Field tomorrow. What better could you ask for? With one away here in the top of the eighth, Kalen Culpepper, the cleanup hitter, due up. The third baseman watches the first pitch on the upper half for strike number one here.
Should we take offense to that he chose the luxury box at Fenway over our folding table?
Hey, we're here for all the action. It's the finest league in collegiate baseball in the summertime as a slider flies outside of the glove of Parker behind to the backstop. 1-1 here to Culpepper. And people have their decisions. You just move on. Either way, it seems like everyone's living lavishly. 1-1, a fastball at the belt, and it's taken for strike number two here to Culpepper. Here on the night, 1 for 3 with a run scored. Came across the score on a 5-3 RBI ground out from Devin Obie back in the sixth. Colleran's ready at the belt. The 1-2 cut on and missed. A slider that had Culpepper out in front that time as Colleran picks up his first strikeout in his latest relief outing, and they're a two-way here in the eighth. Colleran looking in command just as much as Matt Boynton was out of Murray State.
Yeah, Colleran at Northeastern pitched 15 games in 2022 with 24 strikeouts, but no appearances in 2023, looking to make a big impact in the relief pitching position this summer.
Anderson shoots it high and deep out towards right field, backing up Earhart at the wall. He looks up and he makes the catch at the track. It certainly was a towering shot, but Anderson, the pull hitter, certainly gave it a ride and just did not get enough of it. It was right in front of the Royal Blue scoreboard here in right field from McKeon Park. So Dennis Colleran in his first inning of relief, he sends the Mariners down in order with a ground out, a strikeout, and a flyout as Ethan Anderson falls just short of his second home run on the season. The Mariners down in order, they get nothing across, trailing Hyannis 5-3, moving into the bottom half of the eighth here at McKeon Park. Stepping away for another moment, this is Harwich Mariners baseball on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Harwich behind 5-3 against Hyannis here at McKeon Park in Hyannis. Running out of time here, Harwich will have one final chance to draw within two or take the lead as John Holbet's making another appearance here, his second on the season, takes over on the mound here, wearing a different number as opposed to what he was initially assigned.
One of 3 Monarchs from Old Dominion coming through Harwich this summer. His 2 counterparts have left the Cape, but Holubitz is a first-year member of the Mariners.
Yeah, Jacob Gomez leaving in addition to Kenny Lavari. 0-1 is sliced to the left side foul. And quickly 0-2 here to Trey Lipsy, the center fielder of Ohio State.
Can't forget about Fitzgerald, too. He made a big impact in his time here.
And he was just drafted by the Mariners as well. Good for him just to be able to find some continuity. The Margate, Florida native got a lot of starts, started on a daily basis either at DH or at first base here for the Mariners. The 0-2 from Halbet's a slider missing low and away. It's 1-2.
At Old Dominion, Halibut's tallied a 3.38 ERA for the team's second lowest, but he did record the most strikeouts with 49 coming out of the bullpen.
2-strike pitch just misses on the inner half with a slider. So the final line on Matt Boynton in his debut, he shined, holding Hyannis to just 1 earned run on 2 hits, issued 2 walks and 2 strikeouts dealt. A 2-strike pitch again, and it misses low inside just above the shoe tops as it goes to 3-2 here. Lipsy on the night with 2 singles, a bunt single back in the 4th before a strikeout swinging in the 5th. Just underway here in the bottom of the 8th. Harwich looking to keep it to a minimum. The pitch shot out towards center field, moving back King, and he makes the catch into center field. An excellent play that time from the Wingate transfers. There's 1 away here in the 8th. Great service from Matt Boynton in his debut, picking up after Reed Easterly gave up 4 earned runs on 7 hits and issued 3 walks, only with 2 strikeouts. Easterly came into tonight with 2 wins. So that flips the lineup card here for Zach Earhart, the right fielder. Just 1 single here today, got it back in the 1st. Reached on a fielder's choice in the 2nd. The first offering, a changeup on the outer half at the knees for strike number 1. Reach on a fielder's choice in the 2nd. What was an inning-ending 6-4 play. The 0-1 just misses on the upper outside corner as it goes to 1-1. Harwich behind 5-3 against Hyannis with 1 away here in the bottom of the 8th from McKeon Park. Harwich wearing its road navy uniforms, gray pants. The 1-1, a cut and a miss that time as it's 1-2. Hyannis has had a balanced night out of its order, particularly out of the lower 2 hitters in the lineup in Eric Snow and Trey Lipsy. A 2-strike pitch, swung on and missed, strike 3. So that time, the new reliever for Harwich and Halibut's going low with a slider as he picks up his first strikeout here in his latest relief outing. 5 strikeouts here for Harwich pitching, and Halibut's looking convincing thus far. He's gotten 2 quick outs here in the 8th, but he has to face a very difficult hitter in Cameron Smith out of Florida State, the Lake Worth, Florida native. As Courtney mentioned, the top-ranked shortstop in Florida. The first pitch. Slider missing low and inside for ball number 1.
I don't have the list right in front of me, Wyatt, but with 5 home runs this season at the Cape, I would have to guess that Cameron Smith is going to be representing the Harbor Hawks in the home run hitting contest tomorrow at the All-Star game.
1-1 roped into right field on a few bounces, and it's a 2-out single here for Smith as he picks up his 2nd hit of the night. Yep, he will be representing the Harbor Hawks, and the Mariners not having any representation on their home field in the Home Run Derby, but right now focused on getting this kind of come-from-behind victory, despite the Harwich Mariners not having a ton of wins when trailing after 6 innings this season. So Zach York, the left-handed hitter out of Grand Canyon, steps in. First pitch he sees, a strike on the outer half with a fastball for strike number 1. 2 away here in the bottom of the 8th, a 2-out single from Cam Smith, putting a 3-run difference at first here against John Halibut's out of Old Dominion.
Zach looked to have disagreed with that strike call. A little bit upset in the batter's box.
Pitch gets away from the catcher in you as that moves Smith down into 2nd on what looked to be a wild pitch that time from Halibut's. So a fly out to 2nd base and a strikeout swinging from Zach Earhart, getting Halibut's the first 2 here in the 8th. But he just needs 1 more here. He'll have to maintain command as Harwich is trailing by 2 here. A ball and 2 strikes here to Zachary York out of Grand Canyon. Started the evening 0 for 2, a strikeout swinging and a line out to center field, and reach on a fielder's choice in the 4th. Harwich had trailed with 5 unanswered runs. Halibut set, and the 2-strike pitch just misses low as the count evens up in 2-2. Harwich has shown a little bit of resilience here, despite going scoreless in the 7th. Got a run back in the 6th on an RBI ground out from Devin Obey. They trailed 5-2. The pitch, a cut and a miss that time. Halibut deals another slider, and it had York out in front on the outer half as he lunged for it.
Yeah.
2 strikeouts here in the 8th as the Mariners prevent Hyannis from adding on additional insurance runs here as Hyannis scores no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and leaves one on in scoring position in Cam Smith. Harwich trailing 5-3. We'll step aside for a moment as Harwich has final 3 chances in the 9th inning to draw even or take the lead. This is Harwich Mariners baseball on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. The Mariners behind 5-3 against the Hyannis Harbor Hawks, their final trip here to McKeon Park. Baseball after dark as Dennis Colleran's day comes to a close. He went just 1 inning with no earned runs on no hits, no walks, and a strikeout. Back in the 8th inning as Harwich went down in order. A new pitcher into the ball game here in J.B. Middleton. The first pitch to Devin Obie, a slider swung on and missed for strike number 1. Obie with a 5-3 RBI ground out back in the 6th to get Harwich its latest run.
Wyatt, that was quite the rhyme. I think you need to token that. Baseball after dark, McKeon Park.
Oh, hey, I think it's just a matter of coincidence at that point. 0-2 here to Obie. Christmas music in July and a lighting outage. 0-2, grounded over towards the left side. Quick play for Gazdar, the shortstop. He fires onto first, and it's in time. Now 4 straight retired here, moving from Colleran over to Middleton, the right-handed reliever. As there's one away here in the 9th, the Harwich Mariners are down to their final 2 chances to try and tie for a 2-run comeback here as they turn over to Elijah Lambros making his debut. But we waited for about 20 minutes with a lighting outage in the 5th inning in which Hyannis was able to stretch across an RBI single from Eric Snow. And that was the latest run that Hyannis had gotten as Harwich has been able to keep him at bay as Lambros takes a healthy hack and a miss for strike number 1.
Yeah, only a 1-run difference. 2 runs, 1 run for each team after that delay.
Yeah, Harwich trying to lock back in here and make the best out of 2 outs here. Lambros out of Fredericksburg, the pitch, a cut on and miss. 0-2 here, the count to the Maryland product. Really helped Maryland to a strong season again this year. Another 40-win season for the Terrapins. Won their first Big Ten tournament in program history as well.
Yeah,
and the 2-strike offering is lobbed back behind home plate foul as it'll stay 0-2. Maryland had quite the season, though. Didn't go as far as it wanted to in trying to make a trip to the College World Series, but a strong season all the while. That's why it's so hard to win in college baseball. You have strong regular season record, doesn't always translate.
Mariners would look to make the most here offensively in their last opportunities against Hyannis in the regular season.
0-2, watch that on the inner half, and it's a drop third strike. Parker went back to get it to his left outside the home plate circle, and there were 2 away here in the 9th. But yeah, it's winning time here for the Mariners. They had led 2-0 going into the bottom half of the 2nd. 2-run single from Ali Camarillo, but now have struck out 11 times here on the night. After Dennis Colleran sent the Mariners down in order in the 8th. Middleton trying to return the favor here in the 9th, set to face Andrew Yu, the Duke catcher. The first pitch taken high and inside for ball number 1. Harwich here today getting 2 hits back in the 2nd. That 2-run single from Camarillo being the 2nd. And the 1-0 offering high and inside again on a fastball, 2-0 here. JB Middleton out of Yazoo City, Mississippi. Hyannis going with 1 inning for each of its last 2 relievers here into the 9th. The 2-0 offering, low and inside. 3-0 here to you. Staying patient in this at-bat. Has grounded out twice here tonight after earning a 2-out walk back in the 2nd with Harwich behind 5-3. Down to its final out here in the 9th with nobody on the base paths. The 3-ball pitch. Fastball just misses at the letters, and it's a 4-pitch walk here for Andrew Yu. It's something he's been able to show at times this season, and he now has multiple walks as he draws the 2-out walk here to bring up Ali Camadillo in the 9th spot. Someone who's looking for that hit, he's kind of due after that 2-run single. Courtney back in the 2nd, flew out to center field back in the 4th, struck out swinging in the 7th. We'll see what he can do here, but first, a mound meeting will take place between the catcher and Aaron Parker and the pitching coach and Eric Luxus here. The infield conjoins, and Hyannis with 1 warming up in the bullpen down the left side. We'll see what they elect to do here. Just 1 away from taking a victory, what would be its 12th on the season here at McKeon Park. 11-5 the Harbor Hawks this season in their home confines.
Yeah, Wyatt, back in the 2nd inning, we talked about Camarillo's ability to capitalize in these situations where the pressure is on him. So he's definitely due, like you said.
Middleton, the 4th reliever here for a Hyannis team that entered with a 326 hitting mark over the last 10 games, but it has been Hyannis pitching that has kept Harwich's starting offense quiet as of last night. The pitch going low and away and gets away from the catcher Parker as he moves all the way to the backstop as Yu gets into 2nd here on a wild pitch.
Looks like someone pinch running for you.
And that is Daniel Rivera. It's a good call that time to get a faster runner into the ball game here with 2 away. Rivera, the Southern New Hampshire transfer, set to go to Kansas State. As Camadillo looks to drive him in here. So Yu with the 2-out walk. Rivera now with a strong lead off 2nd. No one keeping him honest there. 1 ball, no strikes here for Camadillo. 2 away here in the top of the 9th. Harwich behind 5-3. Pitch a slider down the middle as it goes to 1-1 here to Camadillo. Chula Vista, California native, as you mentioned earlier, Courtney, with 2 hits in each of his last 3 games, also surrounding a visit over to College Station, Texas, where he'll be set to transfer into the Texas A&M program. Mariners with tying run at the plate. Here's the pitch, a check swing, and he went around. So the Mariners down to their final strike here with a 1-2 count here to Ali Camadillo, the CSU Northridge product. 2 away, a runner in scoring position in Daniel Rivera.
Harbor Hawks fans getting loud here.
Middleton from the first base side, not working with a pitch comm here as he has the old-fashioned signs with a runner in scoring position. The slider low and away this time as it's 2-2. Good take that time from Camadillo. Mariners took their only lead in the 2nd before 5 unanswered runs from Hyannis. Harwich carved into that to make it a 2-run deficit in the 6th. Camadillo has to protect here, even the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. The 2-strike pitch. Slider cut on and missed. Camadillo goes down on strikes for the 2nd time here tonight as the Hyannis Harbor Hawks defeat the Harwich Mariners for the 2nd time here at McKeon Park. The Harwich Mariners fall 5-3 as the tying run at the plate does not come into advantage here as the Mariners leave an opportunity in scoring position in Daniel Rivera. They score no runs on no hits, no errors, and leave 1 in Rivera at 2nd here as they drop to 15-19-1 on the season. Well, Courtney, as we welcome you into the Harwich Mariners postgame show here on the Harwich Mariners Network, it seemed as if the Mariners had some promising light to look forward to with a 2-run advantage going to the bottom of the 2nd, but just a little bit too soon. Some say it's a little bit too late, too little too late. For the Mariners, it was too little too late, but for the Harbor Hawks, certainly wasn't too late at all.
Definitely. I think it's a heartbreaking loss if you're Harwich. Your last regular season matchup with the Harbor Hawks looked like you were going to be off to a hot start and then just kind of cooled off really early, and you were not able to keep up with the runs that Hyannis produced.
Well, Harwich losing with 3 runs on 6 hits, 1 error committed. Hyannis scoring 5 runs on 10 hits and committing 2 errors. Some blunders in the infield, but Eric Snow with an RBI single to right field, able to extend the Mariners' deficit in that 5th inning as the Mariners and the Harbor Hawks were interrupted by a light delay in which a malfunction had transpired here at McKeon Park. Multiple light towers behind home plate had interrupted play for about 20 minutes. The game-winning hit, however, came in the 4th inning, in which Cameron Smith, the right fielder out of Florida State, the freshman of Lake Worth, Florida, broke the game open. That stalemate at 2-2 after the 3rd inning. Smith able to get that RBI base hit to lift the Hyannis Harbor Hawks and break the game from there. The Harbor Hawks now moving to 21-12-2 on the season, and now only 1.5 game behind Cotuit for 2nd place in the Cape Cod West Division standings. Meanwhile, Harwich still looking up from Orleans, in which it's 16-15 in 2nd place in the Cape Cod East Division standings. Still trying time here for Harwich to be able to pick up multiple runs at one point in the season.
Definitely, Wyatt. I think if you're Harwich, there's going to be a lot of advice coming in from Coach Englert. He's really great at rallying the team and getting everybody fired up. So it's going to be a nice break tomorrow for some Mariners for the All-Star game. Exciting for some as well. Hopefully they can continue to get back in the win column and just keep producing.
So the losing pitcher here tonight, Reed Easterly, as he gave up 4 runs as the Mariners fall 5-3. Easterly falls to 2-1 on the season. Meanwhile, considering the win for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks, it's a big one. They draw closer to within Cotuit as they continue to contend for 1st place in the Cape Cod West Division standings. They have now won 9 of their last 10 games after beating Orleans 15-5 last night, as the Mariners and the Harbor Hawks close up with 3 losses for the Mariners here in the season series and 1 tie, that being 5-5 in 8 innings last Sunday at Harwich, where the Mariners did not have enough lights to carry a full game. The game was called after 8 innings. Meanwhile, the winning pitcher out of Iowa, the left-hander Cade Obermiller, as he moves to 2-0 on the season, entered with an ERA of 3.38 through 10 2/3 innings, as he pitched a convincing 2 innings thereafter from a 4-inning start of Zach Volker, the right-hander out of Iowa. He gave up only 2 earned runs on the 2-run single to Ali Camarillo. The Mariners only getting 1 run, and that was in the 6th inning, and that scoring ended there with the RBI ground out from Devin Obie. Harwich falls to Hyannis 5-3, 3 runs on 6 hits, 1 error for Harwich, and 5 runs on 10 hits, 2 errors committed from the Harbor Hawks, who moved to 21-12-2 on the season in a ball game that lasted nearly 3 hours. It was 2 hours and 54 minutes, including the light delay, not the lightning delay, but the light malfunctioning. Yes, it's an interesting night here to be a Hyannis Harbor Hawks fan. Have Christmas in July for a theme night, and then also have lighting malfunctions behind home plate that causes an impediment on play just over halfway into the game here from McKeon Park. But, Courtney, before we sign off here tonight, you consider the Mariners, they needed a win here tonight. They came off a scorching or an explosive win over Cotuit last night, and a much-needed win to get back in the win column. How do the Mariners move forward, especially given that they have 2 days off with the All-Star game at their home field tomorrow and then an off day Sunday?
Definitely, Wyatt. I think a lot of it just is going to come from the mental game. We know the talent is there. We saw it last night. The talent is there. The ability to hit and produce on offense is there. It's just going to be the mental challenge of getting past this, and I think it's definitely doable, especially with this coaching staff and the team right now for the Harwich Mariners. It's just, I think it's all going to come down to the mental game. It's a long summer. It's a long season, so they really just need to lock it in for the end.
Yeah, the Mariners scored 10 runs for the first time since June 18th. It was Father's Day when they picked up their 2nd win at Eldridge Park. It was the most runs they'd scored, in which they won 12-2 at that point. But Harwich had its RBI struggles once again here today, as the Mariners left the bases loaded in the 2nd and did not even get a runner into scoring position, aside from Kalen Culpepper, who came across the score on the 6th inning RBI ground out from Devin Obie. They got a runner in scoring position in the 7th and the 9th, but they were unable to get either of those 2 home in what would have been the game-tying runs, as the Mariners drop it 5-3 here at McKeon Park. So the Mariners, despite having a 10-run outburst last night against the best team in the Cape Cod Baseball League in the Cotuit Kettleers, unable to translate that here tonight, just scoring 3 runs on 6 hits, 1 error. Hyannis getting 5 runs on 10 hits, 2 errors committed. Hyannis moving to 21-12-2 on the season. Harwich down to 15-19-1, and now sits 3.5 games, or rather 4 games out of first place in the Cape Cod East Division standings. So, for my broadcast partner, Courtney Robinson, I forget again.
Courtney and Devin combined.
Yes, Courtney Robinson, and for our producer in Matt Skillings, filling in for Sean Sears here tonight. I'm Wyatt Copeland saying so long here from McKeon Park. Baseball After Dark ends with a loss for the Harwich Mariners 5-3. We'll say so long here from McKeon Park. Harwich taking 2 days off before it resumes play on Monday night. Meanwhile, the Hyannis Harbor Hawks will face Wareham back here at McKeon Park on Monday night as well. But that wraps it up here from Hyannis, Massachusetts. One final time, Harwich falling 5-3 here against the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. This is Harwich Mariners Baseball on the Harwich Mariners YouTube Network.